Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to the Knitting a Good Yarn podcast. We're having some issues this morning.
Yes, we are.
Like
yes,
more than normal. Pizza can't settle. It's so gloomy out right now that we're like blasting light. You can see we usually don't even put my lights on, and I'm like, anyway, we hope that it's all fine. We're trying not to look vampirish.
This is your cheery Knitting a Good Yarn podcast. Well, we're real over here. This is what we do.
We're real. Yes. And it is, yeah. We're just talking about, you know, hormones and cycles and females. And like, it's like, for me in that, I'm moving into that time. Amber from A Lovely Yarn. Do you watch her?
Mm-hmm.
She's lovely.
She does. I love her pattern roundups.
I know.
She's so
okay,
good.
But Amber, like, you're killing me. If you,
well,
you don't watch, but if you happen to watch, because we're mentioning you and maybe you're like, what? They mentioned, who are these people? You're killing my, not Q, my like likes, my favorites. I'm having to now organize them because it's so many. It's so many. Anyway, but Amber talks about being in the season, and I'm in that season. I'm in that season where things are like, I'm hot, like a lot, and sometimes in moods.
Yeah, it's one of those days.
Today is one of those moods.
It's one of those days. I mean, so we're coming to you from Southern Ontario, and
I'm just launching into my life, but thank you for introducing what the heck we're doing.
I mean, okay, so we're coming to you from Southern Ontario on like, I'm gonna say like one of the gloomiest days that we have had. So gloomy. It's so dark outside. Like the color of my sweater is reminiscent of the sky. It is 11 a.m.
Yeah.
Just, you know, I don't know, for our friends who like live up north and who like live in BC on the west coast, who like, this is your normal, I need tips. I was like, can I bathe in vitamin C? Like, vitamin D. Like, I just was like, I need something.
I know. And I like rain. I'm actually like a rain person. I love rain.
You like this?
Well, I do in the right context, but I don't right today because I feel like we're at about 4 degrees Celsius. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but we're so close to this all being snow.
Yeah, it's true.
And it being absolutely beautiful. Yes. So to me, it's like, I think I'm just like feeling ripped off because it's like December and this should be snow. If this was the day in the middle of summer, I would be in heaven. I love when things are super dark and like cozy and like, no? Oh, I love it.
I mean, I don't like the middle of summer because in Ontario, but I do love this. I don't know. I just know I don't like this. Okay. I also feel like I'm in like some sort of like sunshine withdrawal because I have been in Sedona for the past like 5 days and had like a wonderful time, and it was friggin' freezing.
Really?
Yeah, like when you get up in the morning and like at sunrise, like it's like 2 degrees Celsius.
Really?
And then by the middle of the day, it's like somewhere between like 17, 18, like went up to 20 one of the days. So thank goodness for wool.
Yes.
It was like, it's gorgeous, but it's just like blue skies constantly. So
and
I woke up this
dry
like,
kind of.
Yeah.
Dry.
And so I woke up this morning and was like, it's podcast.
I actually like opened my like blinds and was like, why is there no light? Like, and I look at my watch and I'm like, it's 8 o'clock. Like, why does it look like it's 6 in the morning? So dark.
But I feel like, I mean, everything is about contrast, right?
True.
It's like expectations versus reality contrast, right? It's like,
yes,
December 9th, your house is so like wonderfully Christmassy. We haven't gotten there yet. But I want it to I want like cozy time feels. And this is the gloom of mid-November.
Yes, agreed.
So we apologize. Well, maybe this lighting is great, but I feel like our like is bizarre. Luckily, I think most of what as I look at our table of things that we're showing, I'm like giggling because we're just like neutral.
What happened?
So of all of the days to like not have perfect lighting, then this is today. Although it's looking pretty true in this moment.
Yeah, I think it's true colors.
So we have not introduced ourselves.
You tried.
I tried.
Yeah, but
I got
then
distracted.
I probably got us distracted too. We are a knitting podcast. We're not a weather podcast
or a
like
women's health hormonal podcast.
We're gonna go.
We talk about it.
We talk about everything. So basically, we love knitting, and we talk about our knitting. But in the midst of talking about our knitting, we often have other thoughts that come up, and sometimes our knitting is teaching us things, and sometimes just interacting together. You know, it's kind of an anything goes podcast that goes for about 3 hours usually.
Yes. You were greeted by Pizza, who's one of the puppies who is here. Yes. So we are a one-shot podcast. We don't do any editing, which means that sometimes the puppies make themselves known, particularly because Pizza and I have a little, I don't know.
We don't know.
I don't know.
He really has a problem with Jackie, and it doesn't make any sense.
Very much.
It's been almost 2 years, and it's just like...
Yeah, I know. And every so often we have these like sweet moments, and then it's like right back to like. Anyhow, so what we don't capture when we're live always shows up in the show notes, and those show notes are like an evolution. And so often, if there's something missing from the show notes in terms of like wool or like a modification or like designers, that kind of stuff, we'll just leave us a comment, and then I'll add something back in there. I love those show notes. Those show notes like help me all of the time.
This is why I think all of our our Ravelry hasn't been as good since the podcast, because I think we use this like a lot of times. I'm going back and going, what did I even make? What was that? Whole, you know.
And what needle size did I use, and so on and so forth. So that's all there, and then we also create little chapters so that you can stop and start with like each project and like skip our rambles if you want to skip our rambles. But yeah, did we say our names? I'm Jackie.
Carmen.
And for those of
you, we forgot to say our names by this point.
And for those of you who have been here before, you're like, ladies, let's go. In any case, we are here with like a ton of finished objects today.
I don't know what happened. We're like, because it wasn't that long since our last one.
Like 5 weeks.
5 weeks, 6 weeks. I don't know.
We got a lot.
It's been a lot of knitting.
It has been a lot of knitting. So can we start with
Well, we should start with this because we are both wearing. For the keen-sighted, we are wearing. Yes, we are wearing the same sweater. Yes, this is the Crossroads Pullover by Joanna Ang. Jo Ang Knits on Instagram and
Ravelry. Yeah.
Jackie and I were given the pleasure of test knitting. So Joanna Ang is just like one of these designers that we love, and I hope that you all have found yourself like one or two or a few designers where you know there's just something about it that you could just knit any pattern and know you're gonna love it.
Yeah, you know you're gonna be fine.
You just know.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I imagine that a lot of designers design for themselves, particularly if they're not like making like massive amounts of things. So I think if you can find a person that has a similar aesthetic or like vibe to you, then they're designing for themselves and it's gonna work for you, because that's if I could design what I would design.
How would you describe Joanna's aesthetic?
Oh God, you're better at words. But I will say that yes, you're way better at words.
No.
We have people here, you can say it. But I will say one thing that comes immediately to mind with Joanna is not necessarily the aesthetic part, but the construction. That she always has like incredible construction, and it never is the same. Like it's never, I haven't knit all her patterns, but I have not knit a basic raglan from Joanna.
Yeah.
Like even like the Koi I made, which was the first one I ever made, and one of my favorite sweaters still to this day, had like the saddle shoulder and like, you know, the stuff going down the sides. Like there's always something interesting.
And she was on the saddle shoulder before everybody was on the saddle shoulder. Like Joanna for me is like, everything is elegant. Yes. Everything is like intricate, but not in an overwhelming, like busy kind of way.
Yes.
But like when you see a Joanna Ang sweater, you're not gonna find another sweater that looks like that sweater.
No.
Right? Like you're gonna be like, oh,
this
that's interesting.
New.
Like
exactly.
This is new.
Yes.
And then the construction piece, these are like pieces that I feel like end up looking really intricate and elegant and like refined. And for somebody like me who like loves construction, also loves to like mod the living minute out of everything, when I test for Joanna, I'm like, I don't need to make any adjustments.
No.
I just need to choose the size, I don't know that I could really make modifications really to Joanna's patterns. Like, I mean, like, you know, sleeve length and ribbing length and those kinds of things, but to like change the proportion, but I've never needed to. I never want to. It's always so perfect. And the way, I don't know how her brain works.
You'll see
like,
in this sweater.
What?
Like, it's like,
what? Like, how did you arrive here? How do you even grade this? Like, she just is so, it's like, it reminds me of, I'm gonna do food analogy. You know, like you can, like fine dining, there's like fine dining where you're like eating stuff and it like comes and I don't know, like it looks like a cupcake, but it's not a cupcake. Yeah. Like it's like complexity for the sake of like creative complexity. There's like that kind of like fine dining. And then there's the kind of fine dining where it's like, this is a chicken breast with asparagus and mashed potatoes, but it is the most amazing chicken breast with mashed potatoes with asparagus, and there's just like a little something in it where you're like, I don't know what that is.
Like she's added something that is wild.
Yes.
Like I don't even know what would be a thing.
But a Joanna pattern is like, it's like going to a sit-down restaurant and like you have all of, like everything is taken care of and you just like sit down and you just go. And you just do it. And you just do it. Yes. And there's always like charts and so
to the point actually, like even in this test knit, like at the beginning, it was almost overwhelming.
Yes.
Because she actually takes us through every single thing. So you know some designers like give it like, because certain things like if you're gonna do a right increase or a left increase, it's gonna, or a purl, it's gonna change. And some designers are like, you'll get it.
Yeah.
Joanna
like as written or something like that, as like established
table, so that at first you're looking at it going, oh my god, I don't know what to do. But if you actually just go along, you're like, oh well, thank you for that. Yeah. And then it also became very intuitive. Yeah. But you were asking me as you were talking about her because it's funny. She is, I think you said refined or classical or something. Yeah. She also though has this like the word, this sounds kind of funny. Like I'm like she's whimsical. Yes. But not in a airy whimsical way. So she's like grounded whimsical.
Not like I'm gonna wear cat ears whimsical.
Well, or like fairy.
Oh yeah.
So like, and she even has like I think like a fairy bouquet sweater or something she calls it. A lot of her patterns, especially for a while, were like very like ethereal. But they're not frilly.
Yes.
So they're like fairy, ethereal, whimsical, but very classic, grounded, elegant, grounded. Just
so like, that's what she is. We should probably just let the sweater speak for itself. But this was one where it was like it came like she was like showing little sneak peeks of it, and I was like, when's it coming? When's it coming? When's it coming? When's it coming? And I think she called for the test knit like right before we left for Rhinebeck New York Sheep and Wool. Yeah. So
we bought
both of us were like looking for yarn for that. So I always feel really good when when you go to a yarn festival and you get special yarn and then you get to cast it on. We both cast it on actually at
Sunday.
Yeah, on the Sunday of New York Sheep and Wool. So it was super lovely.
That was so fun.
It was
I've
really
never
fun.
cast on something with a friend, have it be the same thing and have it be like we're on a trip.
We're on a trip. It was so lovely.
It was really good. Do you want to see it?
Yes. Yeah.
I'll show it. So,
oh my gosh.
Here we have the Crossroads. Like, oh my god.
Sleeve detail.
So you have this like cable that goes up the middle, and then all of these cables. Look at all this like joining. Like, my goodness.
So it's knit side to side. It's a sideways construction.
From our right, I think. Was it from the right?
I don't even remember.
It was from the right. And all the way up here. Right?
Yes. So you, the arm is knit flat and then seamed.
Yes.
So you sort of cast on this little piece, and then you cast on stitches. So then you get the body, and you're knitting like from the front all the way to the back. Then you split. Yeah, this is one of my favorite details. I don't know if it comes through, but this is the way that this like splits. There's this like I-cord and there's this little cable pattern that goes along. So you split and you're knitting like the front and the back separately.
Yep, that's right, from here.
Then you do this like herringbone cable.
Isn't that cool?
Oh my god.
I really like this stitch.
This herringbone cable was one of my favorite, herringbone cable panel is one of my favorite things about the sweater.
Me too. And you know what's really funny is I've done this before in like socks and things, and I remember it being a really like the way that one was, it was an annoying stitch. So I was not looking forward to this. I was like, oh, I remember that. But this one was done in a different way. So if you're saying like, oh, I love also like, I'm just talking and like, I'm like a headless person here right now. But yes, the herringbone, if you're thinking, oh, I don't like that, it might be a very different kind of herringbone stitch.
And it's like it's a small part of the pattern.
Not very far, yeah.
And what I think it does is that it creates like, and this is like a classic Joanna kind of situation, right? Like because of the way that the fabric is, oh my God, look how good that looks.
Oh, really cool.
The way that the fabric is, it makes the neckline sort of like kind of scoop or not V, but there's this shape to the neckline that's not like a cross boat neck. Yes. And it's because of this herringbone panel that she placed in the center.
Right.
Like it's so
that's
clever.
True. And there were no short rows, which I was surprised.
Yes.
I thought that this was going to ride up and things, but it didn't. It's perfect.
The back has a different,
it's a little higher.
You have more stitches on the back.
Okay, fair.
Than the front.
That's right.
But because it's sort of knit side to side.
That's right.
I think you don't think about it. And one of the testers who added short rows into the ribbing. So this pattern releases December 18th. So not too long from now, like just over a week. And it's one where I loved the testing process because you could see how it looked different on different bodies.
Yes. But and
different choices
didn't look so. Sometimes it looks very different. I feel like some sweaters look really quite different per person.
Yes.
This one looked different, but not.
Yeah, and I think let me re-articulate that. It's like there were many different bodies.
Yes. Knitting
the sweater.
Yes.
But somehow it all like the vibe of the sweater and how everybody looked was consistent.
Yes, that's what I
despite yarn choice. And that was a marvel to me because thinking about this construction, like again, my brain actually cannot think about the construction and make sense of it. But I was like, wow, it really works for lots of
all
folks.
bodies. Yeah.
I think the biggest thing that you'll see when the pattern releases and you can like look at other tester photos, if you're on Instagram, the hashtag is already there, and so you can click on it and you can see lots of things. And Joanna's been, if you go onto her Instagram, she's been like posting things. I think the biggest difference in terms of like choices was length and ribbing. So Carmen and I did the same modification, which was to
is it a mistake a modification? Can we call that?
Yes, because even if you made it as a mistake, if you decided to keep it,
that's true.
It's a modification.
This is true. So I just read the pattern wrong. This is oh, you were about to say it. Sorry.
Yeah, the ribbing in the pattern is written to be 2 inches.
Yeah.
Long, and both Carmen and I
did.
It?
Okay, because you were gonna do. I thought it like an.
I had the idea. I actually did the whole thing and then it didn't work. But hang on. Let me get in so that you can see. I really, really loved this line. So the neckline edging has an I-cord with like a little twisted cable, and what I tried to do, because I loved the length of it before adding the ribbing, was to make the bottom edge a similar I-cord.
Gotcha.
I think it could have worked if I was better at seaming, but something happened in terms of me picking up stitches to knit the I-cord across like this way around here, that it was doing this like weird balloony kind of situation. Like it looked like
maybe
this.
You made less stitches or something.
Yeah, something was going on in terms of how I was picking up the stitches around the seaming part that it didn't work out. And because you'd already done it, and I was like, okay, let me just like rip it out and do what you did with a teeny tiny ribbing.
It's just a teeny tiny. So yeah, so this is like 1/4 of an inch instead of 2 inches.
2 inches.
But I did really like it because I didn't want it to be down again. Like I really just liked just this tiny bit there.
Exactly.
I really liked, and I liked the length, and I was just happy. So I was like, can I just, and then Joanna's so gracious.
Yeah, she's always so gracious about
if you like it, you get to keep it.
Exactly. Thanks, Joanna. So I have extensive notes on my Ravelry page about like just the little tips and little mods that
awesome.
That I made. So one was the ribbing, but the major modification for me was that I didn't end up on gauge. Okay, so if you're gonna knit this pattern, I think, and Joanna's still in the process of like doing edits, so it's possible that, you know, by the time that the pattern is released on the 18th, like this will all be spelled out in the pattern.
Yeah.
But one of the things that Carmen, we struggled with gauge. Like,
well, we did
both
because
you and I ripped out a bunch of times.
She was doing it based on number of repeats.
Yeah, so what she, like, if you look on, like, we'll link Joanna's project page and our project page just below, but if you look at Joanna's project page, it has like all of the specs for the pattern in terms of like gauge and all that kind of stuff. So when she first released the test knit, the gauge was written in terms of like, okay, like if you did 4 cable repeats and 4 columns and 4 cable, like it was expressed in the cable charts. It was like 4 by 4 of the cable charts is going to give you this many centimeters by this many centimeters, which we tried to work with and like use the recommended needle size and like played with our fabric and so on and so forth. But I found that although I felt like I was on gauge with my swatch, when I started to knit it, there's something about it. It definitely changed for me. Like I knit the sleeve. I knit the sleeve of my swatch. I knit the sleeve as my swatch, and then I blocked it and laid it out. And when I was doing the gauge based on the like square, I was on gauge. But then as I was starting to knit it and I was starting to like try it on and that kind of stuff, I'm like, this is not coming out the way that I thought that it would based on that swatch, that like my sleeve swatch. So basically my because it's knit horizontally, normally we think about stitch gauge as the width and row gauge as the height, but
so you don't have to worry about the row gauge.
Yeah, the row gauge is like not such a
worry, because usually in a sweater you're going to just knit as long as you need most of the time.
So I had the right gauge in terms of the width of the cable columns, but my row gauge ended up being smaller.
Yeah.
So I added the only modification that I had to make was to add some cable, do an additional round of repeat of the charts in order to get the
So then you have to change everything though, right? Because it was all the numbers, or did they?
No, so the modification actually, I think it worked out really well. What happened was I did the like increases, or I did the shaping as written in pattern, and then I just threw an extra chart repeat in to get the length that I
gotcha.
needed.
Right. So because as long as you stay with an actual repeat, if you started doing half a repeat, that would
then that would get complicated. But I think for me it worked out really well. I added 1 repeat to the sleeves and 1 repeat on either side of the herringbone panel in order to get the finished object dimensions for size 2, which is a bust size of 43.5 inches.
Yes. So interesting.
So, yeah, we didn't talk about wool.
We didn't talk. Well, and also, so before we get to the wool, I also wanted to say she's going to change it. I'm pretty sure she's going to give now the gauge for a 4x4 inch or 10 centimeter thing. Because what had happened for us is that when we first were doing our swatches, I think you had the same, but we had slightly more stitches. It was something like less stitches.
It was too small.
It was too small, but it was the opposite of what we thought. So we had because it was by the size of the thing and how many stitches within it, rather than the opposite of what we're usually used to. I thought my gauge was too big.
Yes.
Which I was like, that'll be fine because I need to, I knit actually a size 1.
Really?
Yes.
What's your finished bust size?
I stretched it to 42, I think, something. I was on gauge, and then I made it a little bit bigger because I wanted it a little wider,
more ease. Yeah.
But that's what's so surprising, because yours looks smaller than mine, but I guess that's just, who knows, knitting. Anyway, what I was going to say is it was really interesting because we're used to, if you have a smaller gauge, if your number is smaller than what you want, so let's say like it's 20 stitches and you have 18, you're like, okay, well, I'm gonna have a bigger product.
Yeah.
This was literally the opposite. So I knit an entire sleeve and was like, what is going on? This is smaller.
Yeah.
And then I had to do the mental math of it because of the way it was. So in case you are going to go based on the number of repeats as opposed to just the size, just know it's opposite to what the normal thing is. If you're not right on gauge, you're going to go opposite to if your number's higher, it's going to mean that you are bigger.
Yeah, and what you want to do is you want to get your stitch gauge correct.
And exactly.
Like I think that's the most important part.
You mean row gauge. You need the row gauge correct.
Yeah, it's like hard. I don't know. We in the testing process of like offering feedback, I'm like, I don't know how to offer the feedback because our conventions are difficult. Here's what we'll say. Like, you want the gauge of the columns, like from here to here, you want that to be correct.
Well, you need all of them to be correct, but I would say this way is more important.
This one is more important.
The
span
the row gauge, what would be our row gauge? Because if you turn this like this, which is how you're knitting it, you're going up, right? And so it's like the row gauge is what makes the width of your sweater, as opposed to the opposite. Usually our row gauge is the length of our sweater.
Yeah.
Now it's the width. And I think the width, it's easier to modify if you get this too short.
Oh, that's so interesting. I think it's the opposite.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Because I wouldn't want it too tight. Like,
I think you can adjust width very easily.
You can if you're paying attention.
I think you can adjust width very easily by adding and subtracting cable charts. But for the shaping, in order for the shaping to come out correctly, I think okay, that's true. Because I think I think the elegance of Joanna's patterns is in the proportions.
Yes.
And in the way that she shapes. So I believe in my mind, it's like you want to get the stitch gauge to be correct. Mm-hmm. Like you want this, whatever, because I feel like it's confusing to say, like you want this across to be what it says in the pattern.
Yeah.
Because the pattern is easy, because you want the arm shaping to be consistent, like the ratio of the shaping to be consistent.
It's very nice.
Which is very nicely done. I think that's one of the reasons why on all the different testers, there's kind of a, the vibe or the look of it is like consistent, is I think it's because of the shaping. And then if you want to make it longer, there's no shaping on the bottom. All the shaping's like through the arm and around the top. So if you wanted to make it longer, it would be really easy for you to just cast on more stitches for the body to lengthen it or to lengthen the ribbing.
Yes.
And if you wanted it to be wider, you would, I think that it's like I did it, right? Like I added one extra cable repeat on both arms and there to create the amount of ease that I wanted.
True. The only thing I would say is that because you're seaming,
yes,
you don't know exactly how far. So, and because this exists here, you are making a decision by the time you get here that you can't go back on, here. So you have to know, and I found it hard to know, like, if it's going to sit. Like, if you're trying to figure out how much space, plus you're seaming it, I had a moment where I was like, is this going to be wide enough for me?
Yeah.
And I was like, what do I do if I do that? Because then I have to add, I would have been able to add here.
Yeah.
But then I'm adding, anyway, it was fine. But if you have the gauge on, I feel like for this pattern, she walks you through it so perfectly. Yeah. She has thought it all through that really all you need to do is be on gauge. And I actually was on gauge. For once, I'm usually not.
I think, and Joanna also said that she's going to include, like I know in the pattern, she has included the instructions on how to lengthen the body if you want to. That's already written. And she's also, her and I spoke about, she's going to add a little piece around how to adjust if your row gauge, which in this case becomes your width, right?
Yeah.
Like this measurement, if this measurement is not quite on, how to make modifications in order to match it. And I also have included that in my project page. So I think, one of the things about like a top-down like raglan construction is that you can like try it on as you go. Yeah. However, I think the sideways construction, the fabric this creates and the way that it lays because of it is so delicious.
It is worth it. And you can do things. I pinned it. So I guess it was on this side. I pinned it as I went so that I could kind of have that and put it on, because if you're trying to like kind of put it on without
it was
being,
very
like,
difficult
I
to
pinned
like
the
try on.
sleeves
Yeah.
and everything, and so you can do that. I also would like to say, as a very not seasoned, but I love cables.
Yeah.
I love cables. This was a beautiful cable pattern to knit. It doesn't look like this would be a mindless project, and it's not mindless. There are places you have to pay attention, but there's a lot that I didn't look at the pattern for.
Yeah.
Because you just know there's like,
yeah, it's the same consistent cables. You throw an increase in every so often.
Yeah, and you understand where the increase
row.
comes to. Like sometimes other patterns where you're like, oh my God, I have to watch everything because it doesn't make sense. This one really made sense. So just, if you're feeling overwhelmed at the beginning and are like, because I have never had this, but I think I was hormonal at that time too. And I was like, I don't know. I'm like, can I do this? Like there was a moment of overwhelm. But then I looked back from my knitting and I was like, wait a second, what's actually happening? Instead of getting caught in the like words and all of the like everything's all out there, I'm like, what is going on here? And when you start thinking there, you're like, oh, this is not hard. I understand why I'm adding certain things. Like that's why I would have a thing right here.
Yeah, that's another thing that is our second time testing for Joanna?
It's my third or fourth, I think, but it's our second.
This is my second time testing for Joanna. She's so responsive, and also I think, testing for Joanna is it's like a master class in like construction.
Yeah.
Because her construction is like easy to follow, but it's unconventional, so you can't just be like, oh, this is what's happening.
Yes.
She's very responsive about sort of explaining things, and I think in the final edit, what a lot of the testers mentioned is that, and Joanna's gonna do is I suspect it's gonna be like longer than our version because she,
add these pieces.
She's gonna add these little pieces so that you understand, oh, like this is how the increases are happening. And
yeah.
Like, oh, this is like what's happening. Which, I am like, wow, I really, as a knitter, even with a designer that I completely trust like Joanna, like my brain likes to know this is how it's working.
This is the plan.
Like this is the plan.
Yeah.
It helps to, and I think especially with an unconventional construction, it helps to take that like, am I doing it correctly? Like feeling, even though with Joanna, like really, I know.
You don't
and
need
I've done
to.
it. You don't need to know, but she's gonna add those extra pieces because I think there were enough of us who were like, Joanna, can you just like make a little paragraph that sort of says like this chart represents the increases that are happening on the sleeve, which are happening on either side of this particular chart, and this is what's happening. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Because I know it wasn't that I didn't trust it. I actually just couldn't understand it. So then I was like, I just couldn't get my brain around what was going on. And then it was like, suddenly it's like panning the camera angle out. And I was like, oh, and then as soon as I understood I had to just do that. And then I'm like, oh my God, this is not it's complicated. I would never be able to create this myself. But when you're actually like thinking about it, it's right there. You're like, okay, it's not hard. It's actually not hard.
What it reminds me of? It's like, how many of you who are cable knitters are like diehard chart users, and how many of you do line by line? Because I am very visual. Like when I knit cables, I'm always going by the chart. I am rarely ever going line by line. You know how like some cable patterns, like when it's like, oh, it's a 10-row cable and they've written out each row.
Oh,
rather than having that in writing.
Oh,
I can't. But there are people who do that.
Oh.
And I feel like for people who understand cables by like the written out like row by row instructions, then this Joanna's pattern, they're gonna be laughing, right? But for you and I, who tend to be visually oriented in terms of how we understand patterns because we like charts,
yes.
there were not that many, like the cable pattern is charted and written.
It's
just
written.
So that you know.
It is written, right? Is it?
Yes.
Wow. That's a lot of work.
But
Jeez.
What was I saying?
Sorry.
Right. So, but the actual like how the sweater comes to be and how the shaping is, like there's not visual aids inside of the pattern.
Yes.
However, there are wonderful testers. I don't think you and I are get to lay claim to this, but there are wonderful testers who do progress shots. And if you look at the progress shots, that's what it was. I was like confused by the pattern, and then I was like, like a later tester. Like a lot of people had trailblazed in front of me. And so, I just looked at their things and I was like, oh, okay. And here we go. So,
I think it's going to be very clear by the final.
Oh my God,
like,
absolutely.
So basically, all of what we just said there was probably useless because you're like, what are you girls? Like, you're probably looking at, any of you who are looking at the pattern right now, might be like, this is so obvious.
Yes, true.
But if not, just persevere. Because the squishiness of cables that go this way is unmatched.
It's amazing.
Like, it's not the same. It's not just that your cables are this way instead of that way, like that you're like, okay, it's just aesthetic.
The way the sweater lays as a result is incredible.
I'm wearing quite a bulky like shirt under here, but like I'm glad that you wore it like this because it's also like when you don't, you just have a little tank. It is so flowy.
It's so flowy.
Like it's really
the way that it feels is so lovely.
Yeah.
Can we talk about wool?
Yes, we can.
Can we talk about your wool?
Sure. Oh, I should have looked up. There's we have somebody that watches and pointed us to to Boondoggle farm. So that's what mine is. It's a farm in, you probably know, it's somewhere in the US. And they raise these fin sheep and they sell at Rhinebeck and maybe online. They probably sell something online, but they have their one, I think it's one clipping per year.
Vermont fin sheep. Yeah.
And our friend Lily from Curatorial Knits actually last year she had gotten it the year before and then was getting more because she loved it so much, and knit another sweater there. And then a viewer had said, you're so lovely. I loved it because it was like, I don't almost want to tell you this because I don't, I get this.
Because
it's like a
so
secret,
limited.
what if it's like, but she's like, you're just so gracious, thank you. And so I was like, oh, gotta go.
Yeah.
And this is, I mean, you can't, there's no field of vision here, so you don't know. How do I describe it? It's elasticy, it's soft, there's no prickle at all.
Soft.
It's so soft. It's sport weight 2-ply. This is in the light gray colorway. It took, they come by 2 ounce skeins, and that took it took just under 7 for me to do the size 1, which was something like almost 1,200 yards.
What?
It was 1192.
Okay, cool.
Is that different from yours?
So different from mine.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So it's one of these wools that like has a magic feeling to it. We went on and will again with Bow Layers orchards.
Yes.
They have they're like CDM Rommeldale, incredible sheep, and it just makes a quality that you're like, this is unmatched. Like I can't.
What is this fabric in my hands?
Anywhere else. This has the same feel, like a fin sheep. But I've knit with fin sheep before. I love fin sheep, but they can be. I found it scratchier. This is like
I've never had
not.
scratchy fin
Oh
sheep.
really? No. Okay. Well, anyway, this is like
a cute little nice little halo. Again, it's 100% fin.
100% fin, and they're raised on the farm. Happy sheep. I know.
I'm dying. It's the perfect cream taupe.
It is really beautiful. I know it has a cream, but then sometimes it goes really gray.
Like it. I actually feel like the camera's doing a really nice job on this, but I feel like this might be the most perfectest neutral ever because I do think that it'll just adjust to the lighting in a way. Like I remember when I, like in the skein when you picked it up, it was like a cool cream.
Yes.
But now on, it's like more taupe. But then when I first came in different lighting, it looked gray. I have deep regrets about not buying this yarn. I mean, I bought it in a different color, but I have deep regrets about not getting this perfect taupe. But it's so beautiful.
Next year.
Yeah, next year.
I love it. Could not recommend it more highly.
Okay, so I just went on their website. Their website has not been updated since Rhinebeck. Okay. It says like we're currently like refreshing our inventory from New York Sheep and Wool, so I don't know if there's but you can email them. But it says if you're interested in purchasing yarn, please email me, and there's an email address there. So we'll put the links below. I know that when our wonderful viewer sent Carmen and I a message being like, hey, farm yarn lovers, like this is my secret, this is my most favoriteest of farm yarn available at Rhinebeck. And so I like definitely went and scoped on the website, and pre-Rhinebeck you could buy online.
That's right.
So that's
she had gotten it, so she was like, it's okay. She had gotten her stash, which I
and to be fair, when we were there, did we buy on Saturday or Sunday? Saturday. Like there was sometimes you go to a fiber festival and you like go to a like coveted booth, and it's like, oh man, like this is I'm like, it reminds me of sample sales in downtown Toronto when I was in my early 20s, and it's like you could die. Yes. Like going for that one pair of jeans or that like you know, common sizes. There are some booths at some fire festivals that are like that, or you show up and you're just like, okay, like, you know, the like this stall has been ravaged by enthusiastic fiber folk and there's nothing left. And that was not our experience at Bellairs.
Not at all.
At all.
It was nice
and calm. Boondoggle. At all.
And they also like had stash behind. So they didn't have a lot out, which at first I'm like, oh, we're almost like, there's almost nothing there, but they have it. It's just a very calm, there's a very calm, chill vibe about that whole farm.
Yes. It was very like earthy and grounded. I was like, I felt like you and I needed to like tone down our like normal, large enthusiasm selves. I walked in and I was like, ooh, okay.
There was not one, and I didn't get this from many of the booths anyway, but like there felt like it was the antithesis to sales. Like it was like, want it or don't?
Yeah.
And not indifference, like the person, they were helpful and asking, but there was just like literally like no pressure.
It was so lovely actually, because it was again, like I think we talked about when we did our Rhinebeck recap, like there's a vibe, right? There's like an energy in the air, and there's some like fiber frenzy, I would say. It would be an appropriate
that would be
like overall vibe, but you like find these little pockets, right? And it was like it was the antithesis of fiber frenzy.
All of it.
Like I was like, we went in and we were like so excited to find it because
they were
it was our first booth, and like we were so excited to like check it out because of and I walked in and I was like, whoa, I need to like adjust for the vibe of this booth, right? And not that they were like not that they like gave us looks, but I was just like, this is not a place to be frenzied.
It actually was, I don't know how to describe it, because it wasn't like you can't. It was like you walked in and it like passed the force field and suddenly it took it down the energy, like, but not in a bad way, in a really like lovely,
I'm grounded, I'm present, I'm taking time,
here.
There's no
this is
rush.
Intentional. Like, would you like it? Do you not want, you know, like whatever.
I mean, we were like, we walked up to the sport and I was just like, sweaters quantity, and you were like, sweaters quantity, and that was it. I mean, and then we wandered around
getting more of it. Like we were like, one more skein, because I didn't know if I was gonna knit. I didn't know if I was gonna knit the size 1 or 3. So like I had a very large range.
I love that your options were 1 or 3, but not 2.
Joanna thought that I should knit the 3. And Joanna knows all.
Yes, true.
And I thought I wanted to knit the 1 because I wanted less ease.
Yes. So both of us knit less ease than recommended in the pattern.
Yes.
Yes.
I think I probably should have had the 3 if I was going to get the ease that she intended.
You know what's fascinating to me though? Like when I look at the other testers' versions, because a lot of the testers knit pattern as written. Wonderful, such a wonderful experience to have testers who do what they're supposed to. And I think it's something about the sleeve that creates the sense that all the folks who had a lot of had more ease, I didn't feel like I was looking at them thinking that's a like actually a lot of ease sweater.
There's no sense? One. I feel like we all look about
the same. Even though we have different amounts of ease. And I think that's related to the sleeve and the shaping. And again, I want to say the way that the fabric moves because it's horizontal as opposed to straight.
That makes sense.
Yes. What was I saying? Was that related?
That was, I think. Okay.
I was like, I just forgot where I started. I was at the end and I was like, was that a tangent or did I need to go back?
I think that we were on track.
Okay. I love this wool. I really want to try it on. But let me try. We'll do the swaps. But okay, so this wool is
I'm so glad I own this wool.
So this wool, I can 1000% tell you, and this is so rare for us. I'm like so excited. I'm like, look, if you want this exact sweater, this exact wool, you can have it.
You can have it.
And it's farm yarn. So this is from Barenaked Wools. This is their Better Breakfast DK, which is a merino alpaca blend in the color Warm Coals.
De-haired alpaca.
De-haired alpaca, thank you. So this is the softest, butteriest,
so freaking amazing,
squishiest, most amazing yarn ever. I don't know if I've talked about this on the podcast. If you watched us 2 years ago, you would see that I knit 100% with Nutiden. Yes. And I still love Nutiden. But about a year ago, I was having some stuff in terms of like hormonal related stuff that at certain points in my cycle, I could not tolerate wool.
Yes.
Like I couldn't like suddenly stuff that was like happy was getting like itchy and prickly,
yes.
Which led me to start to explore other fibers, which I'm really happy about. And we also discovered other farm yarn, so on and so forth. But like if you're somebody who has tried to work with alpaca before, but had the experience of alpaca being prickly, which I have had,
yes.
like non-Suri alpaca.
Yep. Yeah.
Wayaka?
Well,
oh, no.
Right. There's two. The Suri.
There's two
but
kinds
also
of
when you're talking Suri, it's baby Suri, right? Because there's Suri alpaca, adult Suri alpaca. Isn't it like Suri versus and the other one? But there are adult versions when we get the Suri.
All alpaca has ranges, right? Like there's like super fine baby alpaca, or like not super fine baby alpaca, like adult alpaca. I don't know. So there's like a range within both alpacas, but then there's two kinds of alpacas, and one is Suri and the other one is Huacaya.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so it's that one.
Yeah. Yes.
I can't.
I'd have to see.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
Huacaya.
Huacaya.
I always want to say Hoyaka, which is not right. Anyway, I'm pretty sure both of those are wrong in any case. I'm so sorry. But the H.
There's 20 seconds you're not getting back. For nothing.
46 minutes they're not getting back. 60 hours they're not getting back.
We got nowhere with that one, but anyway.
So in my brain, right? In my brain, in terms of like softness ratings, it's like, okay, like farm yarn is going to be the scritchiest, and then if you want like something really soft, then you go to merino, and then other people will say if you want really soft, then you go to alpaca. Like this is sort of talked about in the fiber world. But not for everyone. But not for everyone. Yeah. And my experience has been that's not true. Farm yarn is not the scritchiest.
Agreed.
Alpaca is not the softest.
Yes.
And merino comes in very many different varieties of various levels of softness, not softness.
1000%.
What I will 1000% get behind is that this is the softest.
This feels like it's so soft. It could not be any. Like this cannot prick anybody.
There's no prickle in it, and so part of that, thank you, Carmen, is that it's a merino with de-haired alpaca, and so alpaca has guard hairs. Yes. So other than the like grades, you can have like super fine baby soft, like just like peach fuzz off the like teeny tiniest little cria alpaca, or like an adult alpaca. There's grades, but independent of the grades, I think most like alpacas have guard hair. This is part of their coat. But they have Barenaked Wools has removed those hairs.
Thank you.
So that there is
nothing. Scritch.
Like when I was knitting with it, I had to like stop to be like, what is happening to my hands? Like it was almost like it was borderline too soft. I know that sounds insane.
But that's you
like,
too. Super soft.
Yes, I like rest. I was like, what is happening? Like, there's butter
in my hands.
Just butter in my hands. And just like,
knitting with cream.
I don't understand. I was like, is this why people knit with exclusively fine wool? Because I get it now. It's just like no prickle. It's so soft. It's it's really, really round.
Yeah, what is it, a 3-ply? What is it? Do we know? I can get it.
Good question.
Upstairs.
I'll put it in the thing. I mean, what I'll
your
say
stitch
is that
definition is beautiful.
Thank you.
Like you can see, I feel like there's a difference. Like I like mine, but that's very, very.
Thank you. That's funny. I mean, I was not sure because this is more of a medium. Like like cables, as you'll see. I think cables are most easily seen in a light colored yarn, and so I like hemmed and hawed about this.
Right.
But again, the gift of samples is that I saw.
Yes, they have so
how this
many
happened
samples.
for me is that there were so many samples at the booth.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a beautiful Ravelry page, which I'll link below, that has like a lot of the beautiful designs. And
the patterns,
like extensive, you can see. But I was not planning. I'd actually bought another wool. Thinking it was not my plan to use this for the test knit.
Yes.
I had chosen something else for that. And then I walked into the booth and was like looking at all the samples and saw a sample in this color in cables. And I just, there was something about the way that the cables felt and were both like drapey and plumpy at the same time that I was like, I want you.
Like, can we come closer? Like, if you see, like yours, it's sharp. Do you see how sharp?
I think it is a 3-ply.
Like, but I just feel like it's like, I love mine, but these are crisp.
But see how they're like, I feel like they're plump. They're plump without being
real
bulky.
Definition.
Like there's something
they're
about
not bulky at all. It's like,
and it's
I can't believe that's a DK.
Yeah. Holy, it's a DK. And this is crazy. I mean, I had to, I measured this 3 times. I went on the website, I checked my ball band. This was 900 yards.
Wow.
Like, so I bought a bunch.
You have a lot of extra.
A lot of extra. This was 3 skeins. And yes, like I knit it cropped. I am a smaller human being.
Yes.
The chest size is 43 and a half.
Still, and how many?
And this is what I couldn't figure out. I still can't figure it out. It has to do with grist, I'm sure.
Yes.
But the amount of yardage that it was supposed to take me versus the amount of yardage that it took me, even though I have, technically I knit more stitches than you.
Right,
because I knit size 2 and I added part repeats, but I was so confused.
How many yards per 100 grams is it?
300.
300 exactly yards.
Yes.
Okay, so it's kind of a smaller, well,
it's like it's rated as a DK.
Yes.
But it's like a sport DK.
Yes.
I knit on a US size 7, and if you look at the project pages of this wool, people knit it anywhere from a US 4 all the way to a US 8. So it again, like it just is one of those magical wools that's like really flexible. That just adjusts to it.
It's beautiful.
I am like. This is the fine wool revolution for me. Like this, I was like, what is happening?
Do you know that I had never even heard of Barenaked wools?
No, neither had I.
And funny enough, afterwards, like I've been watching podcasts, you know, of Brian Beck and everybody's like, well, of course, Barenaked, that was so busy. And I'm like, you all knew what this was? Like,
we're remarkably uninformed.
We really are.
Podcasters. Like, I think you and I, like, we just like what we like. And then me especially, I'm like, oh, I like it. I'm just going to buy every single color and just like stay in my like happy wheelhouse. And then I'm
100%.
super
and then
grateful
we move
for this
a little
community.
bit.
Yeah.
But
I cannot recommend.
It really, it's holding its shape really nicely too.
Like
beautiful.
It just, I 300 grams.
That's incredible.
For like a fully cabled sweater.
Wow.
Love. So yeah, if you two are having some prickle times, this is the one.
This is the one.
Believe it's the one.
They also say this is just one blend. Like they also have like full no alpaca.
Yeah, they have all that.
No alpaca, all wool. I think they don't. I don't think they have any superwash.
I don't think so.
So.
And sheep's colors. So again, like my neutral loving heart went in and I was like, oh my gosh, like every shade.
Like
every shade.
There's that lavender sheet, you know, like there's some that are just lavender.
Really lovely, really lovely. Lovely ethos, lovely human beings.
Oh, and the people there, they knew so much. They were really lovely.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think one, a viewer had sent me a message and said, hey, was it worth it? Because the price point of the Better Breakfast, because they have it in, they have fingering DK, I believe they also have worsted. And they were like, you know, the price point of this is higher than if you look at other commercial merino alpaca blends, because merino alpaca is something that you can get in a lot of commercial wools. And in my head, I was like, yes, that is true. But one, it's a farm yarn. So from my perspective, there's a different feeling about it. And also like, it's just economies of scale, right? That like, you know, when they're working with like US based shepherds and that kind of stuff, like the price point is different than like a big commercial company, yarn company. So there's that piece of it, but like the way that this feels, something about the de-hairedness of it, I'm just like, this is not the same as other merino alpaca buttons.
Right. Like we're going back next year and getting more.
Particularly what I want to say is that what's different is not only like the soft feel, but the way that it holds shape.
Yes.
The way that it's spun, like just is like, you're not gonna get that over drapiness. So if you have a cable sweater that you want to knit, or like, it's love.
It's really beautiful.
Thank you.
Close up.
Oh my god. Okay, you wanna switch?
Sure. I was gonna say,
have we gone on enough?
We just went
like an hour.
on this.
An hour. Whoops.
Yeah. Anybody who's been here is like, yeah, ladies.
Do you think this is gonna fit over your shirt?
I don't know.
We'll see.
Well, maybe. Yeah, maybe I'll try it on without the shirt. I think it might be a little bit of a quick belly thing. Oh, I know. Oh my god.
What?
Right?
What?
I know.
We just left you.
This might not be the best for. Oh. How do I know?
The back has the double
gotcha.
cable on it.
Oh, see, look at how much bigger that is, and I had a smaller size.
I love.
Oh, I love it too.
The fabric, Carmen. The fabric.
Oh,
the fabric.
The fabric. The fabric.
See, yours has much more drape than mine does.
Yeah.
Mine is like
plumpier. Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay. Just hang out here for a little while.
Oh, that is so pretty.
It's so soft. Okay. What I will say about this boot, so I'm knitting with, I have another, I'm working on another knit in this yarn. And the difference between so it feels really lovely knitting it, like the experience on the needles, but what happens after blocking, I'm like so confused. Not confused. I'm just like, what? This doesn't, like, so how beautiful. Is this the same wool?
I know.
Like, how? Did you have that experience? That it was different? Because I got a different color, and different color means different sheet, means different.
It's definitely got, it was absolutely delightful knitting it. I loved every minute of it. And then when I blocked it, it got even better.
Okay.
I know. This is so lovely too. Oh my god. I bought the same color, but mine's fingering. So that's why I'm not trying to steal this from Jackie. Plus I have. It's so lovely.
What is happening?
I know. We're so lucky. Again, I always say this, but like, thank you to all the shepherds that do this.
Okay.
I really like the oversized look on you here.
Yeah, like, so this is a moment in which I'm like, did Joanna have it right with the like extra piece?
She usually does have it right. That does look really beautiful.
Okay. This is gonna sound, this might be the worst sales pitch. Not that we're trying to sell you the wool because we buy all this with our own money, blah, blah. Yes. But, okay. You know the way that a newborn baby's head feels?
Yes.
When you have a newborn baby that's like, you know, came out a little more downy and not like a full head of hair. That's what this feels like.
Yeah, that's lovely.
Or like a pussy willow.
Yes.
Like it has like a fuzz.
It has a fuzz. This is very smooth.
Is like fuzz.
This has like a superwash feel, but in a good way. Not the plastic part of superwash,
slickness.
But the slickness of superwash has that. It has that feel. This is like fuzzy.
Okay, we're just gonna need to be left alone with this for a little while.
Wait, I know which one we'll move to me next for like the next thing, so you get to keep wearing this for a while.
How is this wool?
I know. But the thing is,
also no prickle.
I was gonna say it's like perfect for you because
it looks rustic, but feels luxe. It doesn't
but it still has like it's more. Yeah, it has a rusticy feel.
I shall be emailing said person about getting said yarn, and I will let you know if I'm successful or not.
Oh yes, that's right. Because if they have any extra, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Well, maybe.
I mean, oh my gosh.
You know what? This is real time, right? Like, this is the reality of, like, when you put something on and you're like, oh my God, like, you really... I will say, comparing,
yes,
the squish isn't as defined as this one gives. Does that make sense? They, like, the squish feel, like, this is
squishy.
This is more squishy.
It's squishier.
This is what I mean. And this is beautiful. Like, it's absolutely gorgeous. But I do that squish.
Well, because, okay, imagine that your insides are being pat by a pussy willow.
Aww.
I need to be left alone.
You have wanted this. I may. We will see. Maybe.
No, I just want the yarn.
I know.
I mean, I just want this yarn on my body forever.
Absolutely. It's so great. Okay, so it says 1 hour.
1 hour.
That we just talked about. These two sweaters.
Okay.
We are not always this long-winded.
No. I think we spent a lot of time talking about construction.
Well, but that's it. If you have somebody who actually, like, puts a lot into the construction, it's like, that's it. Am I off screen?
You are
really
off screen.
Good. Okay. I'm going to move over to my other Testknits.
Yeah.
To wear that a little bit. Whoa, these are tiny little.
They are, yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Here, I'll pull it off like that. Okay, hold on. Talk away, Jackie. I got to put a shirt back on. Dance, monkey, dance.
Suddenly I have nothing to say. Apparently I had a million things to say about the feeling of this yarn. Oh, okay, this is completely off topic.
Okay.
I wanted to thank you all for your abs. I mean, we always get a warm reception. But the reception that we received on the last video for this particular sweater, the Seton pullover, was like amazing.
Also,
I was
thanks
just
for
like,
everyone who said she should give it to me. Appreciate it.
So because the Seton pullover by Marie Wallin, because I have to give my version to Carmen because it is so beautiful on her, I have to knit a second one. So here's my question. We have been horribly delinquent with any real knit along action since, like,
true.
You know, we've tried.
We've tried. Still going on, isn't it?
Is it? Is anybody naming? Anyhow.
Oh, right.
But I was curious if 2025, if any of you would be interested in doing a knit along 2025 for this particular pullover or for anything Marie Wallin. Yes. If yes, please let us know below.
I want to.
Because I will be knitting another one because I have to give the other one to Carmen because it looks so good on her.
I love it.
Yes. So let me know because I'll be doing number 2. I have some ideas for number 2
in Nutiden again or in
Nutiden again. Because it was like
I want to make another
grams.
one even just because of it. It was so, but I don't know if I can ever get better.
You can get better. However, maybe we'll do it together if you'd be interested. I'm not gonna I mean, I almost cast it on like right after I came back from the last podcast because I was like, oh God, it's Carmen's sweater. And I can't not have one because I love it so much, but it also was Carmen's sweater. So I almost like cast on the night of to knit myself a second version. However, I was like, okay, take this as an opportunity to play with other colors or to play with other motifs. So I have some ideas about that. So just let us know if you'd be down for it and we can do it together.
And I've been wearing my Thistlethorn as much as possible because I know it's going to you. Like, well, I've got it.
Okay, this is not a 1-for-1. You don't have to give me the Thistlethorn.
I actually really appreciated everybody. Like, people were like, you guys need to trade sweaters. Like, you just need to trade sweaters. I'm like, yeah, I mean, it's reality.
Yes. And again, like, it's such a funny thing, right? Because you and I are like, we can trade the sweaters and get the sweaters back.
I know, exactly.
And still the reluctance, the strong reluctance on both of our parts. Like,
it's hard. It's hard.
I think, you know what it is, as I reflected on it, it's the memories inside the sweater that I feel attached to.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, because there's energy in the making and the weaving and the wearing of it.
Totally.
And it's like, it's not about the sweater. It's the idea of not having access to those tactile memories, because at least for me,
yes.
I mean, you watch me have my like freak out about this yarn, like there's something about a knit garment and the tactile nature of it that just transports me back to the moment.
100%.
In a way that, like, I mean, music does the same.
Yep,
Smell.
Yep.
But I think for me, tactile might be like the number one.
Interesting.
Because yeah, it's like probably my most dominant sense, like feeling and tactile. And so there is something about feeling and tactile in garments that I'm like, I'm there. So
it's true. I've thought of some things like, you know, the my well, I'm gonna get there, but like I gave that to you and I loved that. But then, and so sometimes I think about that because things remind me of when I bought it because we were in England and all of these different things. But then I'm like, Jackie has it, and there's this like extra piece that makes me even happier about that, like that you're experiencing that. So there's like, so it's like missing that, but then remembering like it's actually really fun
to give it a new life.
Wearing it, and that like part of my experience is now being worn by you and into your life.
Yes, it's like it's rid of the traveling pants.
Yes, that's right. Just like that. That movie was profound.
Young Blake Lively.
I know. She was gorgeous even then. Okay.
Oh my God, Carmen.
Okay. So you are seeing the thing I'm probably wearing the most and throw it on literally all the time. And now if you were to look at my favorites, I have a whole thing on vests and pullovers. Like I'm just going to knit some more pullovers. These are...
Is this your first vest? No.
No.
The tessellated vest?
I had the tessellated. I have a couple, but they've always been very fitted. So what I did differently here. So, okay. So what is this? This is Tori Yu's Avenue vest. It's coming out the 12th, I think, December. Hers, so there's two options that she gives. This is the V-neck, obviously. Can we just, okay, so for a second, we'll just like appreciate the beautiful, you can see, pick up, you knit top down. This is just so fun decreases. There's a crew neck as well. I did the V-neck. Then you pick up these stitches and knit a little bit of ribbing. And then there's a, I think everybody could see this, so I don't think I'm giving the pattern away, but it was different. Like, you then go back to a knit and you bind off knitwise, which I think gives this really beautiful edge.
Clean.
It's almost like, it's not an I-cord, but you know how an I-cord gives a very defined edge?
Yes.
I thought this was brilliant.
It's brilliant.
So the actual...
It's so neat is what I was thinking. I was like, gosh, it's so neat and refined. Why is it so neat and refined?
It's so
that is why.
Classic, isn't it?
Yes.
And I just feel, I love the dimensions. So I would have normally knit probably a size 2. I knit a size 3 this time. And I think my gauge was pretty much on, but a little bit bigger. So like, this is even a little bit wider. And then even after like blocking, I don't do gauge swatches, and I always know that things are gonna get a little bigger when I block.
You've become a very, like your knitting, I've noticed in the past year has just gone looser. Yeah.
I am now going down needle sizes consistently, which is really interesting. But I also like more of a looser thing. If anything, I'd rather have it looser, which is really funny since I just did a test knit and went smaller than what was recommended. But
I mean, I think actually what would be fair to say for you, Carmen, is you either want no ease or lots of ease.
Kind of.
As opposed to like, this is why you were like, I was either going to knit a size 1 or a size 3, because for you, like that middle zone, you're either like, I'm going to lots of ease or like, little to negative.
I do kind of like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this, and I ended up making it 1.5 inches longer. And it's wider. So I think, funny enough, Tori put this call out and I have still not seen it on anyone, even her. So the picture was just it flat, just lying up. And so I actually don't know where I'm at. And because all of the test knitting is done on the Google Docs, which I have to say, you don't get the same kind of interactions with the other testers. So that side is a little bit like, oh, that's too bad. I mean, you still get a little bit because there's comments, but not as much. The ease of that is amazing because you know the pattern is being updated and you see all the changes. So you never have a problem where you're like, oh shoot, I missed that like piece in the Ravelry thing, right? Anyway, so I can't wait to see what this is supposed to look like. She might have even, I don't know, has she?
I'm looking. There's just been very little, like I'm on Instagram with the hashtag right now, and there's not very much.
Okay.
In terms of like worn, there's a lot of hanger shots and flat lay shots.
Right. Okay, so I don't know, maybe this is what she's designing for larger anyway. Can you see the nice little back?
The shoulder detail.
I love it when it comes around the back and is like the seam is further back here and
it's kind of like a drop shoulder-ish kind of situation.
Yeah. I am thrilled. This is something that I have thrown on over everything and it has never let me down. It just always looks cute. And actually my daughter has been making comments, so depending on what I'm wearing. So last week I think I was wearing this with, maybe it was this shirt or a similar kind of thing, and I had like jeans, but they were like, they belled out in the bottom, and she's like, what is she, I looked kind of like 60s maybe or something like this, and then the next couple days later I was wearing it again but with something very different. She's like, oh, now you look something else, and it changed. It looked so good, but it makes a look. There's something about it that really like it changes what you're wearing.
And I think this is one of the things about Tori. I believe she works in fashion. Probably. Like her day job is in fashion. And I think she really understands the wearability of a piece and the way that little details make a huge difference.
Yes.
Like Tori is one of those designers that I'm like, it looks simple. And I'm testing something for her right now. And it looks simple, but this is not your standard basic. No. Like it's like the little edging that she's done and the way that she does shaping and proportions is just like.
Yes. To the point where actually it's funny. So I'm going to be knitting some more vests, but I'm also like, I'm just going to knit another one of hers. And I want to knit it in the different sizes too, like for different options, because it's just a perfect vest. It took no time too. It was like...
What's the gauge on this one?
16 and a half.
Nice.
Hold on. Oh, so I did size 3. Did I say that? Yes, because I would have done a size 2. I did size 3. 16 and a half by 23 is what I got. Oh yes, and I did make the armholes actually slightly smaller by 6 stitches. So they were...
Like the width or the depth?
I picked up 6 stitches less. So they would be tighter.
Okay, gotcha.
It would have been.
Yeah.
But that's just how it worked out. Like with this, it just felt like that was kind of the feel. And funny enough, both sides did that. So I guess, you know what, actually, I guess it has to do with row gauge. When you pick up
the ribbing?
When you pick up the stitches, for the...
Oh, for the body.
For the ribbing.
For the ribbing.
Yes, for the ribbing.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess my row gauge would have been less because I would have had a larger row gauge, probably slightly.
Yes.
So I would have less stitches
to pick up.
So maybe I have less stitches, but it's not tighter than it would have been in her sample.
In the finished object. So it's like your finished object dimensions are in pattern, but to adjust for your larger row gauge, you picked up.
Yes, and now that you say that, even though I usually do look at that, I don't know if I did.
We'll figure it out. We'll have that. That's a show note moment. We will figure that out.
But just thrilled. And I knit it in Sonder Yarn Sonder Yarn Co. If you've been with us at all, we're just in love and our fascination and love continues.
Yes.
It's like, what can I even say? If you are looking for, if you're like, I don't know what to knit, I want to knit a sweater, but I don't know what should I knit it out of, you should just go to Sonder. Like, because
that's what it's become for both of us. And I think you know, we love Melissa, we love her color range, we love the fabric that this particular, you know, 75% BFL, 25% Massam, plus her like fuzziest, most perfectest halo. Like, we love the fabric, but I also think there's like a reliability to it.
Yes.
In part, I mean, it's very reliable. It's not. But I think for you and I, it's especially reliable because we've worked with it so much that you're just like, I know how this is gonna work. Yeah. I know how to adjust for it. Like, we sort of were like this with Nutiden, is like, Nutiden will actually adapt to any purpose. It finds its way.
This is like that.
Similar.
Even though it's spun wool.
Yeah.
I never worry about gauge with Sonder, and I will take it all over the place. Like, I don't even,
you can
like,
adjust for sure.
I'll take a fingering and do you know, what should be a worsted gauge, and it works out.
Because of the way that it's spun. What I will say about Sonder, which I think is actually relevant here, is to say that for whatever reason, both of us, the way that we knit it with blocking, the row gauge changes a lot. So it's reliable in the sense that
it's gonna get longer.
It's gonna like reliable in the sense that we know how the fabric is gonna change.
Yes.
But I'm always aware that when I try it on pre-blocking, I want it to look a little bit shorter. So this is a yarn that when I try on for size, I've like adjusted it that I'm like, okay, everything needs to be a little bit slightly shorter because post blocking, I'm gonna get a row growth.
So it is, how much did it take? So this was Sunday morning, so DK actually. So it wasn't fingering, it was DK plus their Halo, which is their Mohair silk. And so it took less than 2 skeins, just under 2 skeins of DK, which is great because sometimes you have some extra, like you have extra DK of your other one, right?
Yeah,
and so it's like,
absolutely.
And that's a pretty like sizable garment, I think. And that's in hot cocoa, which I think is one of the new browns that she has. I think so. Loved it. And then it was just over 1.22 skeins of the Halo, which is in 50 grams. And that one was in Espresso Yourself. I always want to say Espresso Yourself.
Espresso Yourself. Oh my gosh, that's 536 yards.
Yeah.
And you extended it a little bit.
Yeah, I extended it. I made it longer.
It's so classic.
Isn't it just like, I mean, don't you just, what?
It's so classic. I assume you've been wearing it mostly with like long sleeve shirts. Have you worn it with like baby tee? And like, as I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh my gosh, it would look so cute.
I've worn it with
baby tee.
It's like, it's so cute. It sits like right on the shoulder, like right where my like.
And it's that slope. It's these lines. It's the lines of the slopes of the shoulder.
It is. It's perfect.
It's perfect.
Try it.
Yes, please. If you can rip this off.
If you can, yes. Oh, it's just. Oh, and as you're getting this on, now you're gonna be able to see it with just a tank. I also find there's a real practicality in a vest, especially one like that. Like for work, sometimes I just don't want a full sweater, but I'm a little cold. Oh, it's so big on you. This may be slightly too much ease for you, but oh, look at it.
It's still really cute though.
Isn't it so cute?
I think it's more than look at that beautiful, like the V is. It was interesting because when you were wearing it, I was like, is the V too deep? But I actually, sorry, probably should have not checked that on camera.
I love it.
But that V is a really nice, like.
It is a beautiful.
Shape. Oh, the fabric is really nice.
Of course. But the decreases, the angle of the V is really, really well done.
Lovely. Like I've not gotten on the vest train. I think I don't know. You're more. I feel like you layer more than I do. Like I'm not I layer a sweater and a shawl.
Right.
But this is really nice.
I will wear this. So I'll put this on, and then I'll put cardigans over top of it. So then I'm like just everything options.
Everything is wool.
It's so wool. I have wool everywhere, and then I'll put a little like kerchief like wrap thing too.
I would love to do this cropped with a high-waisted skirt.
Oh, so cute. Like, well, I think her original seam's shorter. I've also tucked it in. So like, it's like, there's just so many options. I have to say maybe I'm going into a phase of things a little bit larger. It's just, the ease of it is so lovely, I'm finding.
I love it too.
I'll make another one.
So nice.
Tori, another triumph.
Another triumph for Tori. Lots of Testknits today.
I know. I think that was my last test.
I have 2 more.
2 more tests?
Well, one of them you guys have already seen. One of them was already. Okay.
There's one I cannot wait to see.
This one?
Yes.
Okay. But you've seen it already.
Have I seen it?
Oh no.
I don't think so.
It's so funny. I mean, I love this sweater. This is my next one that I'm gonna put on. But I also feel like because the release date, so the release date already happened, and so I already like.
Oh yes, I saw it on your thing. Like, that's right.
there's some part of me that feels like this is not a new sweater, even though it is obviously a new sweater.
It's so
it's not
beautiful.
A new sweater for me. I cannot stop wearing it.
It's gorgeous. It's very like seasonal, like right now, like it's a very beautiful like holiday sweater to me. Not just holiday, skiing, all of this. Oh,
okay.
Whoa.
Right?
Whoa.
Okay. This is, for those of you who follow me on Instagram, you will have seen this already. But this is the crown jewel, in my opinion, of classic, like cream white cabled sweater for all of your like holiday, après-ski, cozy needs.
It's gorgeous. It fits you perfectly. It's fitting you like a glove.
Thank you. So this is the Menton pullover by Meghan Babin, who is one half of Hudson and West, the purveyor of like they're my go-to. If I want a cable project, they're my go-to. And the reason I will say that probably the reason I have so many of their patterns in my queue, I bought a bunch of them. Me too. And the reason why they haven't made it onto my needles is because Meghan is bottom up team seam. And I was like, and I'm always like, oh, but I don't know. I am fully converted.
Oh, I love it.
Because I cannot tell you. So, okay. Let me start from the beginning. This, it's the Menton pullover. So it's knit bottom up and it's seamed. I knit it in Sandnes Garn Double Sunday, which is 100% merino, and Sonder Yarn Co Mohair.
An Hibou?
An Hibou, yeah. I'll put the Sandnes Garn, it's just like numbers. I think it's like 10, 15 or something like that. So I'll put the colorway down. But, so.
Oh, it's so gorgeous.
It is like, the cables on this, the arm cable is my absolute favorite detail ever. Meghan made up this cable. So I mean, a lot of designers use stitch dictionaries, right? And so you'll like look around and you'll see, oh, like there's a honeycomb cable and there's this kind of cable.
I've never seen this.
This is the reason why I applied to test it, because I looked at this cable and I thought, this is the most beautiful thing that I've ever seen. She created this.
Look at
it's
this.
got the little like, I'm like, it's like a little flower or a bunch of little pea pods, and then the way that it like moves into this like, and I loved how it looked along the side, and then there's this like beautiful middle panel. It is a confection of cables.
It's so beautiful.
It was so fun to knit. So here's this is like the reason why I'm now sort of team seam bottom up. So what I will say is that the reason why I was able to like just bite the bullet and do this thing is because Meghan, her schematics that she provides for her patterns have like every single thing you could possibly want to know. So for somebody like me who's, you know, like unabashed control freak around how I want, you know, this proportion to that and all that kind of thing, I was like, great. I got gauge, but I also was aware that her schematic, like for the size, I knit size 2, that the arms were going to be too long if I knit them to pattern, and I knew I wanted to crop the body. But because I have all the schematic stuff, I was like, I can figure out how to do this. It's not a problem. All of the mods that I made are on my Ravelry page. But because I knew how it was going to end up in terms of size, and I did the thing that, you know, Andrew Mowry tells us to do, which is like measure a sweater that you like, I was very comfortable going sort of bottom up, not being able to try it on. So you start with, or I started with the sleeves, which is like a lovely thing because you get right into the cables. It was also my gauge swatch.
Exactly.
So I got to do this like amazing cable right from the get-go. You do 2 sleeves. And then when you get to the body, the cable this like arm cable repeats itself on the body. And so by the time you get to the body where there's like more stitches and you're working, like there's different cable charts, you've actually already done this so many times that I was like totally fine. So you just have to learn sort of a new set of cables.
Yep.
I barely use the chart because in spite of how intricate this looks, you can read it.
You can absolutely read it.
It's readable. Like I
consistent.
had the chart nearby, and I think for this middle panel, I did sort of, it's quite large. Like the chart is kind of like this. Even though it looks symmetrical, there were like 2 rows that I would get confused sometimes, and so I had the chart nearby to just be like, am I on the first one or the second one? But other than that, like this was it was shocking. You know how I used to make fun of you, Carmen, because I was like, you were like, like here's my travel knitting, and it's like
yes.
it was that Empo. It was like this giant cable thing.
But
this
it
was definitely travel knitting because you're only like you've
read
only
it.
got a sleeve, you've only got another sleeve, you only got the front.
This is
the
why
back.
I love bottom up too.
Helpful.
And you're not flipping things around. Like it's like I don't love when you get down to the bottom of a like top down sweater, especially if you've already done the sleeves. You're flipping around.
It's like a
it's
giant
so
piece.
much. Like
so this is a raglan. It
beautiful. I like this detail.
The shape, the way that she
pretty
does the seaming is just super perfect. What can I say?
Just cables everywhere. Like I just want to eat it. Like as if you like I want to devour these cables.
It was a joy to knit. Folded collar. And so like again, I finally get the thing around the seaming. Like you have these pieces. And then they just like it's mattress seam, and the way that she sets up is that like there's no confusion about if you've mattress seam before, like you want the things to line up, and like, you know, a more conscientious person would like pin their sweater together so that, but like you don't even need to do that because the way that the edges are, the way that she sets up the edges is like one thing is meeting the other, and it was just a so this is a heavy sweater.
It's would like Sandnes Garn. You said double Sunday, right? So
yeah,
Sandnes
Garn. It's DK, and I held it with Mohair. So let me get you the picture, the stats. This is on my Ravelry page, but it's a chonky sweater. It was just over 1,000 yards of the Sandnes Garn double Sunday, so like 427 grams, and then I had 110 grams of Mohair. So this is like 550 grams in total.
For quite a small amount of real estate.
Right?
Yes.
So I think without the seaming, this would not, like I feel like the whole thing would just like pull itself down. But the way that this lays and sits with the seams
job with your seam too.
is like, oh my gosh.
Also, can we say, I see what you mean. Like I love a seam like this, right? Because it's not cables you're trying to meet. You're literally just looking. That's a brilliant way.
It's a brilliant way to do it.
That makes it easy.
I just enjoyed it from the very beginning to the very end. I posted it. I posted it when the pattern released, and someone was like, "This must have taken you forever." And I was like, honestly, like it did not feel that way.
Right.
The stitch gauge is like it's like 8. It was like 18 stitches.
Oh, yeah.
Across by like I don't know. I want to say like 30 maybe like row gauge. It'll be in the show notes. But I think there's something about like you do one piece, then you do another piece, then you do the front, then you do the back.
And you're excited each time, right?
Yes. That it just, and then there's this moment and you're like, oh my God, like I will say I blocked it before seaming because I wanted to make sure that everything was like laid out as flat as possible. And that I, you know, if there was going to be growth that I would match that because I was worried that if it if it got longer and I seamed it before it got longer, I was like, what's going to happen at the seam? When I like laid, I'm like, man, somehow in my head it took way more space. Actually it does. It takes double the amount of space, but like I have a blocking area and I like laid out the pieces and I was
right, because it does. Yes.
It's like massive and I'm like, this is a sweater, but there's something magical about it, like some sort of coming all together.
That's true. And just a sec, so the arms were in the round though, right?
No,
it was seamed too.
And then also seamed.
Okay.
Yeah, so I had all these like pieces.
Yes.
And I was like, this is what it must feel like to be like a sewist. I was like, this is all this stuff is going to become a sweater. But yeah, you seen the arms first. I don't remember. Wait, I don't remember. I can't remember. It's okay. I'm sorry. So many Testknits. This is like the oldest, the first one that I did of a bunch of Testknits that had complex construction. My brain is just not, I'm picking it up, but it's in the pattern description. But it was just like so magical because I was like, oh, is this gonna all come together? And it came together.
I love things
in like
that.
a really beautiful way. So modifications I made, I shortened the arms, I shortened the body, less ease than is called for in the pattern. And then this is a folded collar that I made into a mock neck.
Because it would normally be shorter?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Normally be like.
Oh, I like yours.
Like that?
Oh, I like yours a lot more.
But I was like, it just.
I really like this dimension.
It felt like the right height for what it looked like.
Agreed.
What else is there to say about the sweater? Okay, one of the things that I will name about why I will be knitting Meghan Babin's cabled confections for all time is that there's something about the dimensions that she uses that really works well for my body. So a lot of raglan patterns, for me, it's like the distance between the bottom of my underarm and the top of my shoulder is like larger than average for my bust size, I would say proportionally. So often when I knit raglans, I have to extend the raglan seam. Whereas with Meghan's, so if you look at the other tester photos, you'll see that some of them, like it looks like their raglans are deeper. Now, most people knit with more positive ease, which I think is part of the reason why the raglan seam would be deeper. But I think even if you didn't do as much, even if you did less positive ease like I did, I think on most bodies, like if you don't have to modify raglan patterns, then this will give you a deeper raglan than usual. The other thing that I really love about this, the proportions of this raglan cable sweater, and I think does actually make it really beautiful, is that if you look at this, like the number of stitches that make up the arm and the number of stitches that make up the body, like the raglan is out more, like it's like the body is wider.
Yes.
And I think that again, there's something about that line that I really love, and like this line that kind of goes out wide, and then this, because often I find with cable raglan patterns, it's like your raglan is in here, which again, for my body type just doesn't work. And so I'm super grateful for that. Meghan also, like all of her patterns are size inclusive. And she's somebody who, when I look at the finished project pages, like she's graded in a way that it just fits. It looks consistent. Like Joanna. It's so beautiful. Yeah. So highly, highly recommend this pattern. I just
love it. It almost has a saddle shoulder feeling to it. Like even though it's not, I know.
Yeah, which I like because of the way that
I love that.
It is this side. I think I've said this view is like my absolute favorite view of the sweater.
Beautiful. It just fits you like.
Thank you. So yarn choice. So I
Sandnes Garn.
I know.
That is surprising.
It is very surprising.
When you told me I was like, that does not
So track. I tried it in 2 different farm yarns and I wasn't happy with the stitch definition. And this was one of the yarns that, so Meghan, her sample is knit in Curatorial, which is a woolen spun French merino. She also offered some different options. And so one of the options that she offered was Sandnes Garn Double Sunday. And I remember I remember there being some podcasters who had knit cabled sweaters in
definitely see it everywhere.
Sandnes Garn Double Sunday. And I remember thinking those cables are so round and they pop. And because when I signed up for the test knit and I was like, okay, this is like a full cabled sweater. This is not one where I want to have any I want it to be as poppy and plumpy as is possible. So that's how I ended up with it. And I got gauge holding with a strand of halo. What I will say, because I was knitting this and Joanna's Crossroads pullover at the same time, I was like, my hands were like, everything is so slick, like everything is so soft and buttery. And I personally found that Sandnes Garn Double Sunday, the stitch definition is unparalleled. It's super round. It comes in such nice like colors. It's non-superwash. It felt like superwash to me. It has this like sort of slick, like it feels superwashy on its own. So for me,
because it's been very processed, right? Like even if it's not superwash, it's like, well, it's like machine, like
I don't know.
Yeah,
like it's almost plasticky.
Really?
Because when I bought I mean, I didn't intend to hold it with halo, actually.
You did that to
I did it in order to create grip. And also, like, when I saw it, there was something about, I was like, why don't I add fluff? Like, this will be so beautiful if I add fluff. And also because a lot of the testers were knitting in like woolen spun, like the Rome Natura is kind of more like rustic.
Fluffy.
And I wanted to like do a different riff on it. And to work with it single, I wasn't happy with the cables when I knit with it single in order to get gauge. Like, it wasn't plump enough.
Oh,
like I couldn't get gauge with the double Sunday by itself.
That's interesting.
Without going up needle sizes in order to get it. So it just, and I did want I wanted the fluff. So it worked out really well.
Sure did.
And I will say that the fluff was part of what made working with that wool joyful for me. Some of you will be like, I love double Sunday. I'm totally fine with it. I had messaged a couple of people being like, hey, what do you think about this, before I bought like a cadillion yards of it.
What is it for? Well, 8 skeins, I guess. Yeah. Because it comes in 50s.
Yeah. Again.
9 skeins, I guess.
Yes, 9 skeins of the 50-gram skeins.
Yes.
So, but I feel like part of the joy of this sweater is the fluff. Like, I don't know that for me, like, I don't know that I would love it so much if it didn't have a halo. I feel like the halo made it extra soft. Beautiful. Like, there's something about it that I'm like, this will be my holiday sweater forever, like classic sweater forevermore, even if the yarn choice was unexpected for me. I'm super happy with how it worked out. And I could absolutely see myself continuing to use this yarn for cabled projects, because the stitch definition it gives is incredible. We'll have to be a little extra and always hold it with halo. I mean, we say these things and then, yarn tastes change, and perhaps as I start to get accustomed to really, really, really soft wool, I will be less.
You are moving in that direction.
Alarmed by it, but I was just like, what is happening in my hands? Like,
although then you put the fin back. I mean, the fin is so soft, but it has a different kind of softness.
Yeah, there's like it's very, very smooth.
This is like silk. Like, I was like, did you hold it with silk or something? Like, it has like...
It's very, very
I mean, I guess
slick.
there is, you added silk with the
mohair, but the merino itself is very, very slick.
Yeah.
Not slidey slick, very round and smooth.
I guess you didn't knit it. Like,
I knit it on metal needles. I knit on metal needles, mostly because I like the tips, like the tip shape. But if, like, really... I think this looks more daunting than it is. Like, it's one of those knits where I think, people commented on it where they were like, whoa, that was like intense. It must have taken you forever. And I was like, I didn't know. Like, it looks far more complex and far more challenging.
Because they look like they are so impressive looking, but they're really not that difficult. Yeah. Like, I would actually say that stranded color work is way harder than cable knitting. Because you have to keep, it's not hard, but you have to keep more tension. Like, there's something, like, you have to make sure your floats,
more ways in which it can go awry.
Yeah, whereas like cables, they are really, you're still just stockinette. Most of it is stockinette and pearls.
Yeah.
And that's it. And so you're just like flipping them.
Things. Oh, it's so good. I will say, probably one of the things that I loved about the sweater, and probably one of the reasons why I could not put it down, is because the cables are easy to read and easy to work, but they're quite different.
Yeah.
So
you're not getting, it's not
getting monotonous. It does not get monotonous.
Which was nice about it, right? Because you could just
know
where
meditative.
you were, but it never stopped.
This one was meditative in the sense that was I looking at the chart line by line? No. But did I know that was I doing different things every single, it's kind of like the cables you're doing the same cables, but you're crossing them in a different order. So in terms of like what you're doing with your stitches, you're kind of doing the same stitches, but you're doing them in a different order. And because you're doing them in a different order, and you're also like, it's readable, so you're following, you're just like, ooh, friend meeting friend, friend meeting friend, friend meeting friend. I loved it so much.
Yeah, I can see it that way. That's so sweet.
So Menton Pullover, Meghan Babin. I did debate, like, I seriously thought I'm gonna do a second one because I loved it so, I love the process so much. And I really debated.
You don't need to.
I don't need to.
No.
I definitely don't. This is one where, and Meghan has so many beautiful patterns that I was like, I'm just going to move on to another one.
Yeah.
But I did sort of, when I was thinking about possibly knitting a second one, I did have the thought, do I want to knit a one with like larger,
like a larger
ease, like more positive ease?
Yeah.
So I want like a slouchy cable sweater. And I think part of what I love about this is that it's cropped and that it's fitted.
I would actually go with, you would keep the crop, just like it would give you a
more
different
ease,
look if you went more ease that way.
And I think when I look at, like, when you look at the way that people knit cabled sweaters and the way that they're styled, so often they're long and oversized, which I think makes them a very specific look.
Yes.
That then doesn't translate into multiple settings. So, you know, you were talking about the Avenue vest, it kind of like works in lots of settings. Like, I feel like the choice to make this a little more fit, maybe it's not so much the ease, but like a little more fit in, a little more cropped. For me, it's like, I can wear this to work. I could pair it with a skirt. Yeah. It's still giving me like cozy vibes for like, I'm gonna go walk in the woods. Like, there's something about it that I think a lot of cabled sweaters that are like big and long, they always look casual.
Like the Urus, I'm thinking.
Yes.
Right? Like by Ayo Knits, if you go back however many, that's a gorgeous sweater, but it is a specific.
And it's, even that one is more like modern, a little bit more dressed up than a classical sweater.
Right.
But when I think about the like investment of time that you make into cables, it's kind of like, you want it to be able to be worn more often. And I also think that that sort of like slouchy sweatshirt vibe.
It's a boyfriend sweater, like, or grandpa sweater, I think that you're going for, right? Where you like, it's as if you threw your boyfriend's sweater on or your dad's sweater, like. Yeah. It's a certain look.
It's a certain look.
But don't we just need all of them?
We do.
Like, don't you need, like, the thing is, that's beautiful, and I need the really slouchy cable sweater that I just, like, throw on, and I'm in, like, my house.
And what I would say is that, for me, what I realized is when I want a slouchy, like, cozy sweater, I want stockinette. I want like a light, big thing. Yes. And I find that although cables look like a cozy, slouchy sweater, they don't feel like a cozy, slouchy sweater because the fabric that cables make is more structured.
It is, especially if you make it in this kind of way.
Did this kind of way.
You're absolutely right.
Right? That I was like, I feel like I might have unlocked, we already love cables, but I feel like I might have like unlocked cables for myself in a different way by making the choice of saying, like, yes, I can knit a big grandpa-y, like, giant one, and there's one that's sitting on the table that I'll show later that is a big, like, slouchy cable sweater. Yeah. But it's not knit in, like, a, 3-ply round,
this is the key.
Like,
I don't want a really big. I brought this one up before, but my Babin cardigan is like this, and it was made out of Gilead, actually.
Yeah,
and
which is already woolen spun.
It's already woolen spun,
already
but
light.
It's like 800 grams. Now it's the big. I did do the 8 long, like the long. If you can
with a shawl collar, it's gorgeous.
Shawl collar and millions of baubles. I think it's something like 800 baubles. I can't remember the number, but so it's just heavy, and I wear it as an outer coat, but it's so much. I couldn't just hang out in the house with it. It's too much. But so I love a cable that has less weight to the cable. Yeah.
And so like making it like cropped is one of the ways that you end up with less fabric.
True. And you're wearing it in a very specific context. So like if you're like this one, yes, you can wear this around the house, but it has more of a classy, like I'm going out thing. And when you go out like to work or whatever, you're not really thinking about comfort necessarily anyway.
Yeah. I'm shocked at how much I wear this because I will say that, it's like almost 600, somewhere between like 500, 600 grams. I thought, wow, this is going to be like too warm, but I wear it all of the time.
It's so
one
beautiful.
of the things that I put on, when you like wake up in the morning and you're like, oh, like the outside of my bed is so horrible.
I know.
Like, I'm shocked at how much I grab this one as much as I would grab my big grandpa-y slouchy thing. And so in as much as I have, said that Sandnes Garn Double Sunday is not my favorite yarn, there is something about
clearly
so soft with the like Sonder Yarn Hail Fuzz and the way that it fits. It's just so cozy and like I feel held in it in the best way, not we've
Not
often talked
constrained,
about
like the armor.
the like armory
Yeah.
cable. So
Yeah.
you know, something about that.
God, I gotta try it on.
Yes.
It's probably gonna be like a
Crop top.
literally crop top. I'll keep my shirt on with this one. Oh, I love cables. It's funny. We probably won't get to it, but I am searching for the perfect cable, white cable sweater. Because I want to make my bow layers into that, which is, yeah, thank you. Perfect. But this is going to be, I knew I couldn't cast it on, so I was like, I've been looking at other possibilities, but this might have to be, this is a really heavy.
It's really big.
Wow.
It's really heavy. I'm just gonna casually reach over to the sweater.
Oh, I love it. Okay, I'm probably gonna need some adjustment. You know, when you have a shirt underneath and you're like, oh my God.
Yeah, the whole shirt underneath situation is, I don't know which one's the front, which one's
I have a little stitch marker in there.
Oh, there we go. Hello, friend.
I just got an eyelash in my eye. Oh, this is lovely.
I mean, you must be so warm right now, Carmen.
You know what? At this moment, I'm okay. Oddly.
I love your plaid collared shirt under the sweater
do.
vibe.
I mean, it might be a little bit of a high contrast. Oh, I just got an eyelash in my eye. I'm sorry. This is really beautiful. This is really beautiful.
I'm actually really interested that I thought the raglan would be deep on you.
Me too.
But it maybe not.
Well, I do have a sweater underneath
Oh
it.
yeah, true.
Oh my God, I might have to go to the bathroom for a second.
Can I help you?
Oh no, there we go. I just had a piece of wool in my eye. Thought it was an eyelash, but no, it was a full piece of fluff. Yeah, this is beautiful.
Carmen.
Beautiful.
Carmen.
Ooh, I
Oh my
feel like
God,
I
look
should be
how
like.
It looks on you. Yeah. How do you feel about the fabric?
I love it. I do not feel like this is heavy.
Do you feel like it's constrained? Like there's something about it that
It is
doesn't like it just
moving.
move. I don't know.
I don't know what it is. Maybe it's that, maybe the slickness you didn't like knitting with it is actually allowing movement, like this movement.
Yeah.
Because it's not
maybe.
grippy, it actually just like that is a gorgeous sweater. Is this not? Look at this.
Okay, like the way that lays on you too.
I know.
It's perfectly proportioned. Like
It's-
the blonde,
this
like
is
the
good.
way it's proportioned. It's so good.
I think this is beautiful. I may have to do this one.
And I thought about it. I did think about it in bow layers, but I wanted to use my intention in choosing that yarn choice was to use yarn that would be that people could get. That was one of the
No, it makes sense.
thoughts and priorities around the Testknit is available.
That is
yarn.
one thing that's, yeah.
So that's part of the reason I ended up there, which is a lovely thing to do. But oh my gosh, in bow layers it would be absolutely stunning.
I love
Oh my gosh. I like the crop on you too. It's not a
No,
crop.
that's
crop.
actually not too cropped. Like sometimes it's brutal. I mean, these are like kind of high-waisted. Well, very high-waisted. I love it.
So cute.
I love it.
So cute. So
Well
good.
done,
Do you
Meghan.
Do you need a cable? Do you need the classic cabled sweater?
Who
This is your
doesn't?
one.
Who doesn't?
This is your one.
Well-
I also want to say that the other thing that I want to say is one of my favorite visual looking cables is a horseshoe cable. Is it a horseshoe cable? It's the one that looks like little circles.
Like the honeycomb?
Honeycomb. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Honeycomb cable. And it visually is I think one of the most beautiful cables. I also feel like in terms of the way that it feels, it is the most armory of cables.
Ah, yeah.
So this is the Euro sweater, which if you've been here for a while, you've like heard us obsess over this sweater by Ego Knits. But that's a
Mine is half done.
what's honeycomb? What is this called?
That's honeycomb, yeah.
Yeah, that honeycomb cable. I feel like doesn't let you move as much cable.
This is
Whereas
really
the cables on this is like, it's so
And do
flexible.
you know what? I
Why
have a
is it so
shirt
flexible?
underneath,
Like,
which is already, the shirt constrains me. And it's still, like, it's not doing, this is really wild. I have not had any desire to knit with, like, Sunday, like, that wasn't anything that kind of popped in my head.
but
But
how
I
nice the
would
winter white
consider
is
this.
Can we
This
talk
is
about the winter white, like, and also there's the white mohair from Sonder, but the color of that, I'm just like,
But the Sonder one actually has a little cream to it.
Yeah.
So this would be very, like, it must be white. Like
it's not, it's got cream in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's not white. It's not like bleached white. It's got a little bit of creamy taupiness to it. But Hilla, our favorite Hilla from Danish Musings, she knit, I can't remember what sweater, but she knit with this in this colorway.
Did.
And I was like, need. Like that's the color, that's the winter white that I'm looking for.
It is really beautiful.
But I also think the other thing that you don't see here but is evident is that there's a lot of moss stitch.
Yes,
and I think the moss stitch also gives you like that's what gives you the movability of it, because I think I'm glad that you're wearing it and that you're like affirming this for everybody, because I think the way that it looks and the way that it feels is two very different things.
Yeah,
like I think it looks like one of those, like it's like a cable sweater, but
I did not, when you were saying
I'm like, whoa,
comfortable to wear around the house, when I looked at you, I was like, well, like, is it going to be like that comfortable? No, it is. I would throw this on.
Yes,
I would absolutely throw this on.
Like, and it's that thing that it's like, it's giving me like cozy sweatshirt vibes, but it doesn't look cozy sweatshirt-y. And I'm also not like feeling like I'm wearing a giant cabled sweater.
It's really beautiful.
So
I kind of could see it in also like a cherry red.
I did when I applied for the test. I had three options in my mind. I almost knit it in this.
Well, that's not too far.
That's not too far. But I almost knit it in this. I did very seriously consider like a cardinal red color because I was like, well, that would be like the holiday sweater. But you know,
this is
neutral
classic.
heart.
It's a never ending.
White.
Oh my God, it really does. Like, you just want to pet. You want to pet this, and then the like texture is very enjoyable. Like pebble, like you know, if you want to like put your hand against pebbles or things like this, like there's like a lot to feel.
There's a lot of this that happens when I wear the sweater. It's
happening here.
Yeah, looks so good on you, Carmen.
It does look so good on you.
You know what the other, so in my like dream knitting, it's like the cream, like a really like poppy holiday red, like this color red. And then a navy.
And of course.
Like a classic navy.
Love a navy.
It would be so good.
I'm in love.
Hudson and West. So they have, you know, their yarn is, they have their own yarns, and their yarns are like built for cables. They have the most perfectest like night sky navy blue that I was like, I have earmarked. I'm gonna buy that yarn. I'm gonna knit a Meghan Babin cable sweater in that yarn because I really want to. It's one that I really want to work with. That's like 70% merino, 30% Corriedale. But like again, you just see it, like it makes cables sing.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's just lovely. It's interesting too that she didn't knit her own sample in her own wool.
Yeah, Meghan designs in a lot of, like, she designs a lot of stuff that is knit in Hudson and West, but she also designs a fair bit using not her own yarn.
Cool to me. I think that's a
well,
neat
yeah.
That's cool.
It is very cool. Like I think she works with Gilead. This is not the first sweater that she knit in Gilead. I almost didn't end up working with that because her sample is in like a white cream.
No, you did a good job.
But I think again, like yarn choice it's amazing how much yarn choice makes a difference. Oops.
Yeah. Oh.
Like there's Megan's version.
Oh, that's pretty.
Right? And it's got that rustic.
It's
trying
really
to get it to
pretty.
focus. It's got that rustic vibe.
Sorry,
go ahead.
Talk. I talk while you're talking. I literally just started chatting. Cool. How much taller did you make this than the crew?
That is a good question. It's less than double. I think like 1.5 of whatever. It's in my in my Ravelry notes, but it was less than double. I think it was like 1.5 of whatever it is in the.
That she does, because hers is folded, but just crew folded as opposed to mock. It's really, I really prefer.
Thank you.
Well done. Thank you. It would also be really cute, I think.
It would be really cute. I think it just, I think if I were not, if it wasn't cropped and fluffed, I think the crew makes sense. Like the crew neck makes sense. Like Meghan's is beautiful, but like for me, this is, I'm like, this is peak fall, where's my horse?
Yeah.
You know, kind of like vibe. It's still very, very elegant, I think.
Oh, totally.
But so if I were to be, if you're thinking about knitting it in the bow layers, which is more that like rustic. Casual.
Yeah.
I feel like the crew neck makes sense. I think because I cropped it and fluffed it. I didn't plan on doing the mock neck. I just did the crew neck and I was like, I don't know. And because it was folded, it was kind of like up.
Right. Right. Then you can see it.
I was like, oh, if I just like fold it a little bit so that it ends up like, again, like 1.5 of whatever the proportion is. I was like,
I love it.
Just there's something right about it with this yarn combo.
It's funny because I still think
good on you.
I love it. I still think it's where's my horse. It's just that like in this one, my horse is like I'm extra dressed to the nines for my horse. Like, you know,
like you're not actually gonna ride your horse.
Well,
you're gonna pose on your horse.
Like, you know, we're in competition or something.
Finding the light.
I mean, I'm going somewhere with my horse with the.
Oh my gosh! You know what? I just had a vision of you on a horse with this sweater and like a long pleated plaid skirt with like equestrian boots. It's a vibe.
I just need a horse. I need the skirt.
You don't got the skirts?
I don't know if I have. I used to have a long like I love a long plaid skirt. But
yeah, like a pleated.
Yeah. All the way down.
My brain, or at least like knee length. You don't have one.
I have skirts that are knee length, but I don't have. And I'm a plaid person.
I know.
I'm surprised. Come on, girl.
What is happening?
What is happening?
Feels like incorrect for you to not
it
have
is.
this in your closet.
I literally, if this wasn't my phone right now, I'd be like right on it going like, gotta buy one. I did almost buy one because I was gonna do it with my Henley. When I did Tori use Henley.
You have a cropped one.
I do. I've got short ones.
You've got short ones,
but anyway, Jackie, I don't even want to take this off.
Like you
I don't want to take it off. I do feel like that. You did too.
Thank you.
It's a very, very, very classic, beautiful.
This color is also really great on you. Can I just say, like, that white.
Even with
our terrible lighting.
Even though we are all
yellow
probably
cat.
like sallow.
Sallow.
Is sallow the word?
Yes, I said we looked sallow.
Anyway.
Do you want to do the like ultimate winter look?
I don't know if I would ever. I don't know if I can mix red and white.
Red and white?
Personally, I don't know. It's candy cane to me.
It is a bit candy cane, but in terms of the holiday vibe.
What is this? Is this Lily?
Yeah, this is Lily's beginner's welcome hat in Nutiden Amanita.
Is this what Margot made her?
Different colorway.
Hey, it's okay. Nobody's here. You guys are doing really well now. Wonderful.
I have been absolutely wearing this, although I do wear a vest on top of this.
Not to say, I don't actually think if I saw somebody else wearing this, I would think candy cane. But I mean,
it's a little bit. But I was like, I'm just doing the whole thing.
Cute. It's really nice.
I also was just wanting to see you in that red because I feel like red is one of your.
I do love
one of your red colors.
This is so cute. This is a very rusticy Nutiden.
It's one of the newer colorways.
Is it? It's very
it's quite plump, like it's plumpy.
But it doesn't have the Nutiden
drape
softness. It's got more like of a scritch.
You think it's scritch?
Yeah. Not scritch because I'm not feeling it on my forehead, but it just feels like more rough.
I find it bulkier.
Yeah.
Like it's chunkier.
Its shape.
Yeah.
Fruit. This is such a great pattern, Lily. Beginner's welcome. Okay, you want to just say quickly what that is?
Beginner's welcome hat. I have a Ravelry project page for this one because that's what happens when you test things.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was like 50 grams of Nutiden held double. Can't remember my needle size, but it'll be in the notes. And this was the brimless version of it. So like, get your scraps, friends, your Nutiden scraps. Again, I just want to, like, the shaping. It's the perfect shape.
It's really cute.
It's
particularly
really cute.
Also with this blend. Very good.
I think you would get it with any of the newer blends. Like,
I haven't bought for a while.
Yeah, like your Nutiden stash is like mostly the older drapier.
It's that like it was skinnier the older ones, and then when it changed to the plump ones.
Yeah, plump ones.
And then I haven't done it for about a year.
Yeah, and I would say that most of what I've bought, which is not a ton, they're all pretty consistently plump like this. There are a couple that are drapey that Carolyn will say like this is a drapier one or this has got old breeds in it, but like this is a pretty, I would say that if you you'll get this kind of stitch definition, or you'll get the not floppy with most of the newer. The duckbill, that's right. You'll get the duckbill with most of the new blends. But beautiful. I love that hat. I wear it shockingly often, even though I would say that red is not one of my like standards.
I feel like you're moving into a red phase. I am moving into a red phase. I'm very attracted to it.
Aww! It's my little, I was like, I'm my little gnome.
You look like something like this little gnome.
I did, I was wearing like this, and I have this like, black vest with quite a big hood. And I was wearing the hat, and I was walking the dog, and I walked out, and my husband was coming home, and he was like, "You look like a Christmas gnome." And I was like, "Yes, I do." And I am owning it.
You can pull this up and be like, "It's your beard."
My beard. So good. Okay. Because we did this, which was not on purpose. This beginner's welcome hat by Lily. I talked about it last episode. I love this hat. It is so flexible. The shaping is super perfect. And so I did another version of it for my husband.
How many have you made then? Because that wasn't your original.
3.
Nice.
3? Yeah. 3. This is my third one. There will be many more after this, but my husband saw this, felt it, and the other one, he was like, "I want this hat. Will you make this hat for me?" But his request was that he did not want a duckbill. So
cute.
This is another version of it. I knit this again in one of the yarns that I bought 2 skeins of during my is my woolly wool days done. This is 100% merino from Lamana. It's called Lamana Como, and part of the reason why I bought it is because it's like a super light merino. I can't remember what the yardage is. I'll include it in the show notes, but it's like it's really, really light. And I was like, oh, that might be a nice thing, because one of the things that I love about Nutiden so much is how light the sweaters are. And so I was like, okay, it's a super light merino. It's, from what I can tell, it's like kitten baby soft, which means that I will not have problems with prickle. So I had 2 skeins that I used up almost all of them for Elliot's, for my husband. And what I ended up doing is it's a triple brim.
Ooh, nice.
It's a triple brim. It gives such cozy. When he wears it, it's like close to his head.
Yeah, like watch cap style.
Yeah, watch cap style. And I the triple brim is quite lovely.
You're a loving wife. You're keeping his ears nice and toasty. That's more knitting. That's more knitting. That's a sign of love.
But it was very again, it's kind of like, I feel like this is kind of like my stress knit project of I'm stressed. I want wool running through my fingers. I don't want to think about cable charts as much as I love cable charts. Just go, go, go.
Yeah, this one is your just ribbing.
Yeah, just ribbing. And there's something about it that is really comforting. So
also, it's making me think about that future navy sweater. It's gonna look good.
Yeah, this is part of the I put it on. I was like, I don't love this hat for me. I love how it looks on my husband, but I would love a sweater in this because the color is really stunning. It's got a little tweed.
I love the little tweed bits. I have a bunch actually. I bought some stuff from Knit Picks. They were having a little sale, and I was like, I got some of that tweed.
Yeah,
super.
It's kind of it's cute, right?
Yeah, it has a look.
I actually quite enjoyed working with this wool. I am curious as to, I don't know how it would work up in a garment, because it is so light. You noted that it's that it seems skinny.
Yeah.
My husband loves it because he tends to find wool and hats he gets very hot, but we did the triple brim so that his ears would be warm and there would be air up top.
That's what we said, would put a little hole.
Yeah. Little steam to come out. But this would be another one of those I think really great gift knit options for anybody who is are you whether somebody's wool sensitive or not. I think this is another one that's Yeah. Great. And
so you said they're in, like, this were 2 skeins, but they must be like 50 grams.
They're 25 gram skeins. Hang on.
Oh, I was going to say, because I don't even know if that's 50.
Yeah. Yeah, it's 50 grams.
Oh, it is.
It's 131 yards or 120 meters per 25 grams.
Oh, per 25. Yeah. So 50 grams altogether. That makes more sense.
Yeah. So super light.
I mean, that is, yeah, that's, you said 125 meters? It's like 500 meters per 100. It's like,
yeah, I was like, what? This
light,
is very confusing to me. So it'd be interesting to see.
Lace.
And it's rated DK.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, that's where you just don't understand.
Right? It says 100% merino, super fine, super light merino.
Yeah.
For lightweight knitwear. By using innovative manufacturing processes, our super light yarns receive a unique lightness.
They really do.
As a result, the knitted favorites weigh significantly less than usual.
Okay.
So
yeah,
that's why I
makes
had
sense.
bought it, because I thought, oh, maybe this will, like, on the 2 weeks that I'm not prickly, or the 2 weeks that I am prickly and I can't wear my Nutiden, I might be able to work with this. But I'm not sure. I found it quite skinny.
It's very
light, which is what I wanted. But I'm like, will this do well in a garment? What I do like is their tweed. Their tweed is like very classic looking. It's such a perfect, like,
it's really cute
navy tweed. All right, then I'm done with hats now.
Beautiful.
That's all. There we go.
Beautiful.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to take this off, and I don't want to.
What is?
God.
Hi.
Yes, this
Hi.
thing here. This is a little
Hi.
palette cleanser. So I had so I had my Testknits that I was doing. The Joanna sweater, I was loving working on it, but it wasn't like the speediest project, you know, because you're like doing. It wasn't super long, but it wasn't brutal. Does that make sense? Like.
Yes, I think
it wasn't super short.
I think the equivalent stitch count, like for the 4-inch gauge or the 10 centimeter block, it's like 23 or 22. Like
it is actually. I even wrote it down because it was 23
by
25. 26 actually, because I stretched mine.
Yeah, so that's like.
Yeah, it's not it. Well, it was sport weight, right? So it's not, and I was doing it.
Yeah, you were knitting in sport weight.
Yeah.
I think the sample is in DK. A lot of people worked with like wool and spun DKs for their yarns. So 23 stitch gauge. That's a
It was taking a while, and it's just like it was just taking a while, and I just wanted some extra things, and we
need our dopamine knits, right? Like, oh my god.
So, we'll get to that. That was like very quick. So I wanted a little cardigan, and I wanted it to be super, super fast and a very, very easy thing. And I'm all into this Wonder Fluff, like some Knit Picks Wonder Fluff. I made that beautiful, like totally tubular turtle tank by Park and Knit, that I just loved. And I'm like, and now I bought a bunch of this stuff. So
it's such a like Wonder Fluff is the appropriate name.
It really
is.
This
yarn.
Yes.
Like it's so what it reminds me of is like I feel like DK Surrey is having a moment. Like I remember
like Oh Dang and stuff.
Oh Dang from Farmer's Daughters Fibers, and what is it? Big Birdie from Lamana Como. Like this was
this has that kind of.
It has that quality to it.
I think
it's
bigger.
Similar
to like Puno or something.
Gepard
Garn.
Is it a blown yarn?
It's a blown yarn. I think.
Oh my gosh, it's okay. This is the coziest, slouchiest.
Is this not
sweater.
Just? I was like, I just want a really cute. Thank you. I want a cute, fast cardi, and this one is literally called Instant Gratification. Now, it was slightly less instant than I was expecting. It took a little longer, which other people have said too, but it was so fast. What is my gauge?
So
11 by 17.
11 by 17.
After blocking, so it was a little bit before.
Goodness.
I'm just so less than it was less than 400.
Neck?
No, okay, so it's
What is it? What's the neck?
There's no.
It's like
you just shape it, and there's you basically everything happens all at the same time. There's no button band. Some people complained about this, that some people put actually a little I-cord. Look, you always find a stitch marker, hey?
I never ever. I feel like everything that I wear has at least one like lost stitch marker in it. Oh.
So some people have like made a little I-cord, but I like, it's just, it rolls. Like it's, and there's not even this slip, like the I-cord.
The one stitch
edging one, which I might have done. Maybe if I make it again, I wouldn't mind having that, but this is just.
Your button choice, Carmen, is perfect.
Thank you. This was a tough call. I had like a few options and I wasn't sure if maybe I made it. Are they too big?
No, I like how big they are. That's exactly. I was like, I don't know that I would have gone so big. Like if you had left me to my own devices,
right?
But I feel like its bigness is like there's something about it that makes it like a slouchy grandpa cardigan, but again, elegant. Yeah. Like it's like elevated ease as opposed to like I am swimming.
Yeah. It
Cute.
is.
Also kind of cropped, right? Deep raglan.
Yeah.
Cropped-ish.
I think so.
Like when I look from here, the length of the body relative to the length of the raglan is.
Yes. I think I did stretch it out a bit. Like, look at that. Look at that armhole. Oh. It is so.
Oh, it's so soft.
My kids are like, they just want to cuddle in. You know, like it is so soft. It's alpaca wool. So I think it's like 70 alpaca, 9% wool.
Oh, look at that.
Maybe 20% rayon or something.
Keep going.
It made exactly the sweater that I was hoping to have. Like, it's just something that you're just gonna like kind of sit around. I actually posted a little story on Instagram yesterday. It was Sunday and I had the dogs on me and I was wearing the sweater and I'm like, I'm just happy. This is so cute.
70% baby alpaca, 7% merino wool, 23% nylon.
There we go.
So beautiful.
There's not much to say about it. But
I mean, you know what? I think it's interesting. I still like. It's like a crew neck.
It
a V-neck had a baby.
Yes.
But the fact that it rolls in like this, I actually love. Like if you had edged it, I wonder if you like put a button band, then you end up with, you know, the thing that you and I have talked about, which is like how do you style a crew neck cardigan without having it if it's buttoned up completely, right?
Exactly.
It actually is it does its thing because it sort of like rolls in. It creates actually a really nice line.
Yeah, I think I'm really happy with it, and that's probably I guess that's probably why she like made it so that we didn't
so that you're not doing a button band or anything like that,
or even the edge. Yeah. Like you just turn around, like you don't skip the last stitch,
right? It's just
but you know, like usually you would like slip the last stitch.
Yes.
You do, although funny enough, you do that just at the end. She wants you to do it in the ribbing.
Yeah.
Oh God, I made this longer actually than she suggested. And what was the thing I was just about to say?
Sorry.
No, it's okay. So when you're doing the button, so you make it all at the same time, right? So she actually specifically tells you how many rows to knit. And then like you make your buttonhole, so you're knit flat, obviously, right? So when you make the buttonhole, she actually says, now put a stitch marker in this particular stitch. Isn't that cute?
So cute. It's so pretty.
So when you're making your buttons or putting your buttons on, it's so easy. You know, other times where you're like, okay, where does this go? Like you're lining
your
it
button
all
placement.
Yeah, it's already there for you. You're literally just gonna like, you just put your button on because you've already got a little stitch marker right there. Waiting. It's so cute.
Oh my God. This Wonder Fluff comes in so many colors.
So many colors. I don't know if I blocked this a little bit too.
I want it.
On the one side. Anyway, whatever. Yeah, it's affordable.
You're so soft.
It goes on sale, so it's something like I think I got. Oh, this was around the Halloween time, and they had the Halloween colors, which gray. There was like gray and white and black and stuff.
It was gray as a Halloween color.
Yeah, they had it on. I can't remember exactly what color this is. I tried to look. Yeah, it is. It is.
Halloween about gray. Is this what is this, cobblestone heather?
Okay, let me think. It's probably cobblestone heather because I threw out the little tag, unfortunately.
How many skeins did you use?
Less than 4.
Okay, that's $40 because it's $9.99 US.
Actually,
it's not on sale right now.
Actually,
oh, I don't know.
I think that's in Canadian because it was, and then when it was on sale,
Canadian.
Yeah, and then when it was on sale, I got it for $4.99. No, $4 each.
Yeah.
Wow. So like $16.
Wow.
Plus my little, like, I went to Fabricland, and if you become a member for the year, it's just like $20 or something. You get like, I got 50% off the buttons, and each of these set of 2 was $2. So this cost $1.50 for the button. Well,
I also, it's really, it feels real and looks really luxe.
It does.
Like I love when you get that, right? Like that it's like, we don't need to be paying $400 of for cashmere.
Yes.
For like,
this feels as
so
cashmere-y to
lovely.
me, and actually is a little bit probably easier to, well, definitely easier to care for, and
it's non super wash.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it's mostly alpaca.
Right.
It has that nylon down
the
in it.
tubing because it's blown.
And then a little bit of wool.
Oh my gosh, it's perfect. I also want to just say again, like Carmen, the like yarn choice for the sweater is amazing.
Thank
like
you.
I thought to myself, ooh, that gauge, let me do it in Nutiden, but no, I want it in Wonder Fluff.
Yeah. Do it in both.
Cozy.
It was such an easy, like, I really enjoyed this sweater. So it's lifted increases. So it's a raglan, but it's lifted increases until a certain point, maybe it was here, and then it became make ones like a, the standard. Yeah. Which I was like, oh, that's interesting. Right in here. Why?
Is that a compound raglan? The way that, like, are your raglan increases?
I forget.
Yeah, I really like the shape of this.
Me too.
Like, boop, it looks like a compound raglan, so different.
I think it changed.
Like different increase ratios.
I think it did. And because something happened here. Something happened there.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
See it in the side.
In when it changed, yeah. And I thought that those lifted, like usually when I see the right and left lifted, I'm like, that seems hard.
Oh, I like those.
I love them. It was so easy.
They're really neat.
And you
don't get that hole. You don't get that gaping thing. Oh, it's so nice.
It's really pretty. I'm really, 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 really happy. Yeah, you can see. So that's where it changes to the regular make ones.
Yeah.
And then.
Love it. Love it, love it.
Thank you. You can try this on.
It's totally instant gratification, hey?
It really is.
Sessioning.
It took, I think it was a week start to finish, and I was also working on this. You can even put it on over top of that one.
I want that direct on skin.
You want it direct on skin, it is.
Direct on skin.
It's been like, that's been very, I mean, I just pulled it off the blocking, so I had it, yesterday was the first time I was wearing it. I know. And so the skeins of Wonder Fluff are 50 grams, so this is like 175 grams to wear.
Oh.
Right?
I just want to snuggle.
I know. And people are going to want to snuggle you.
Yeah, really.
Oh, I made size 2. Anything else I need to say?
Cute.
Oh, so sorry. Instant Gratification Cardigan by Minimi Knit Design. And I actually, I bought a few more patterns from her. She's super.
She's in my queue for sure.
God, she's from,
oh, there we go.
I think she said Tuscany. She's living in Tuscany, but I think she's from somewhere else first. I can't remember. Yeah, and so, so it was knit on size, I used size 11 US needles. And then 10.5 for the ribbon.
Soft and cozy.
It is so soft. And so just kind of like, it reminds me of also something I might throw if I were a dancer, which I am not, but if I was like, a ballerina, I might like after a work, after dancing, I would just like throw this on. It kind of has like a shawl-y feel to it. Oh, it looks good. That color looks really good.
I know. It's the perfect, it's that blue gray.
Yeah.
That's that slatey blue gray. Wonderful.
These are just those projects, right? Like you want to just get something done. Like, and I was doing, maybe also sometimes when I'm test knitting, I love test knitting because it does keep me like on track and all of this. Yeah. And I think about things and I love all that stuff about test knitting. But there's also a like rebellious part of me that's like, I want to knit something else and I can't. And so I sometimes need these little projects in the midst of it where I'm like, yes, you can. Just knit, like, cast it on.
I think I also, I've been doing a ton of test knitting. Like almost everything on my needles right now is test knits. Has been test knits, and I have more. I signed up for more. There's a kind of engagement where I'm I'm knitting it, and I'm also thinking about how it's written and thinking about how
Yes.
because to me that's part of the process of being a test knitter is like,
yes,
you know, so often I feel like
critiquing it, or
like
constructive criticism.
Yeah, like, you're looking for ways to improve. I feel like
Yeah.
all of the test knits that I've done with the designers that I've done, it's like the pattern is done.
Yeah.
Like, you know, but I'm still sort of thinking about how I can contribute to their process.
Yes.
And so there's like an you're actively
Yes.
engaged in it.
with
Like,
it.
and my brain is engaged thinking about like how it's worded and, you know, how this is gonna, I wonder how this is through different sizes. And I wonder like, you know, how you can modifications be made. Like, I'm really like in that process. And sometimes it's really nice to just, you know,
Mm-hmm.
oh my God.
And there is a contrast, because even while I'm knitting this while I'm in the midst of test knitting too, so there's this like, I would come across things in this pattern and there was almost a like, hey, you don't have to write, or I don't have to write anything down for this, or if I have a problem, I don't have to like, oh, I better like make sure the person, I know, isn't it lovely?
This is the episode where I stop listening to Carmen because I just have to keep petting whatever Carmen has knit. I'm just like,
It's been very sensory lately. I've been having a lot of like very like soft. This is, I mean, that's funny, right? So you're like, I don't love soft, but that is like, I don't know if you can get softer, but it has there's something lovely about that.
I mean, what I will say is, I feel like for me, I like your thing with ease is my thing with softness.
You want
like,
either
it's like
super
I
soft,
either want
kitten
it
soft,
so kitten soft
or farm yarn.
Yeah.
Which can still be soft.
Which is soft but has
grip
to it, you know?
This looks really good on you.
Oh, I'm always, I mean, we know this about me, but gray, that like dovey slate blue gray is one of my favorite colors. Some of the hardest to find.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
it's true.
Yeah, but here it is.
There it is.
In
cobblestone
heather.
I think I don't have it on there, but I'm pretty sure.
I went on the website and there doesn't seem to be anything that looks
because my other one was the
similar.
Wellies heather, and that was my darker one.
Yeah.
So yeah, cobblestone heather.
Beautiful.
There's so many. I bought a bunch of this, so I hope you guys are not. I hope you like this, because there's going to be more coming from this side of the room in this, because
I like
it's because it's my like, it's so nice. It's just so easy. It's fast. It's lovely to have. It is already wound, right?
Yeah,
like,
you don't
all
have
of these
to.
conveniences. You're just like, I can just grab you.
It's your
and knit
instant
you.
gratification.
It literally is.
Yarn.
It really is.
Oh my
I
God,
really, really
it's
love it.
so
It's very
soft.
pretty. It's actually really nice to see it. Like, I haven't seen the back.
I love,
Like,
this is
isn't
why I
that
asked
so
about
beautiful?
the shaping. The raglan
Yes.
is stunning.
It's gorgeous.
It's just so good. And I think needs to be in a drapey fabric.
Yeah.
Like, in
I
order
think
for it
so.
to work.
I think so. She'd made it in something similar. Like, I think it was it looked blown yarn, or I felt like this was going to work well.
How many more things do you have, Carmen?
I have another, potentially 3.
Gapard, Garn, Puno.
Puno. Okay, so this is where I feel like these are similar. Like what's
blown
the,
yarns.
Yeah, it has the
It's
thing. I
a
think
12
it's pretty.
stitch by 18 row gauge.
And the actual Puno, like what it is something. not too
Puno
far.
is a blown yarn, 68% alpaca, 22% nylon, 10% merino.
Right, so almost the same.
Very
Because it was
similar. Yeah, and
79
bulky.
and 77, and then anyway.
Oh. Okay, I'm just gonna hang on to this for a little while.
Okay. Should I just do all? I have one more finish. No, I have 2 more finish topics. Jeez, but I don't have to do them all. Do you want to do yours?
Let me see. What do I have? I have one more sweater. Okay, why don't we do my sweater and then we can go, it looks like little projects.
Yes,
we'll
that's
finish
true.
the garment and then, I don't want to take this
I
off.
want to make another tea.
I don't want to take this off.
I can't really make a tea right now, can I? It's gonna be really. We still have stuff to go. Can I make a tea?
Make a tea. I'll just
We're gonna
hammer on
hear
over here.
You know what? It's more about the
sound?
sound of the kettle. You know what? I'll move it into the other room. Do you want any tea?
I'm okay, thank you though.
Okay.
Would you like to have some tea? Yours?
I know, it really is kind of like, I mean, we've said this before, but we're like just in my kitchen, and like you guys are on the other side of the table. It's just cute. Okay, I'll move it in here at least.
Okay, this is the last cable project that I'm gonna show, which is my favorite comfy cozy sweater. Okay, so this sweater is the Guernsey Genser from this, like, probably, I feel like this may be one of my favorite Sandnes Garn catalog issues.
Everyone says this is the
issue
one.
2202, and this is their version of the Guernsey Genser, which incidentally, Sandnes Garn Double Sunday with tin silk mohair.
You didn't though.
No, I did not.
Yes.
But like, look at that.
Oh my god.
I didn't realize I had been so heavily influenced, but apparently I was. Okay, but
everyone
this
who's
is knit
knit
in
these.
my favorite yarn combination, which is Nutiden with one strand of Sonder Yarn Co Halo.
Oh, you can tell the difference.
So it's a drop shoulder. You cast on the back. I knit this a very long time ago. Like, this was, I think I cast this on like January last year. And I just like, I don't know why I would like work on it and then I would forget about it. And then I would like pick it up again and then forget about it. So it's a drop shoulder. You knit the back, then you pick up the front. And then you eventually join it in the round. And you pick up the sleeves and go down. It's one of those patterns that is like I think of them as like little sampler things, because you sort of start in moss stitch, then you have this like cable panel, then you go into a double moss stitch, like it's like sort of in sections.
Oh.
I used, this is a super light sweater.
Is it seaming or picking up?
Pick up.
Pick up. Nice job.
Thank you. It's super light. It was 176 grams of Nutiden and 100 grams of Sonder. So this is your like slouch to me.
Yeah.
This is like the slouchy cable sweater. My favorite thing about this whole sweater is this cable panel. Like, I just love.
Yes.
When you look at I made one modification. Did you make enough water that I could have a black tea?
Were you here just like 3 minutes ago when I said, Jackie, would you like any?
Yeah.
I actually don't know, but let me, I will make you.
It's okay. I'm not like attached.
Like this size?
Like half of that. Like a tiny
then
black
yeah,
tea.
I'm probably good.
Okay, so we've gotten so
This is how casual we are now, guys.
Like,
This is how
just
casual.
not even. Okay, so if you look at the pattern, there is this sort of like horizontal garter stitch with a braid cable detail that I swapped out for, where can I show it? Oh, I have to get closer to the camera. That I swapped out for just sort of actually very similar to the cable that is in the Joanna Ang Crossroads Pullover. Mostly because I wasn't sure about the length, and I wasn't sure if I liked that sort of, that horizontal, I wasn't sure about length, and so I thought it's gonna look strange if it's really small, so I swapped it out, and then ended up doing long 2x2 ribbing anyhow. I just,
Beautiful.
the Nutiden is in Fleeceline, which is one of the softest versions, like one of the softest Nutiden blends that has ever come out. Thank you for my tea. And the genesis of this sweater was Carmen's like original fleur, which she knit in like a creamy white with the sweet pea mohair, which just gives it, this is now where the light I feel like is failing us, but it creates this like just really nice, like barely there gray pink halo.
It's lovely.
And I just love it. It's super cozy. I feel like every time I wear this sweater, it's not like the arms are too short, but I am inclined to want to like pull my little hands into it and just be cozy. And of course you can see, you know, in Nutiden versus the really round double Sunday, the stitch definition is not as good. but good enough.
Yeah, well, it's a different look,
It's
right?
a different look. I like its drapiness. And this is constant rotation for me. When I want the cozy feels and I'm not super, and I don't need it to be like ultra warm.
Yeah. But
yeah.
it would be, right? Like, because Nutiden is like, not ultra warm, right? But Nutiden has that beautiful, like it's always just exactly the temperature you want it to be.
This is one of the things that, I mean, I love Nutiden in all of its forms. I think I was late to the Nutiden and Mohair party because I feel like I hadn't found my like Mohair.
Right. And also I remember we would talk about this and it was like, we never wanted to mess with the color. Because
Yes.
like the Nutiden color was so perfect. It was like, and there's not going to be a Mohair completely
that's
to
gonna
match, so.
be able to, but I had this in, I had knit with Fleeceline solo already, so I felt like it was like, okay. But I just, to me, it's like another cozy, cable-y.
It is so
sweater.
Beautiful. And you're right, like the color is not, did you come closer? Like, yeah, I don't know if you, because you're not seeing the pinkiness of it, but it's a very, like, it's like a pink wash.
I just feel soft in it. Like there's something about it that I'm like,
yes.
it's got a soft vibe.
It has like a cotton candy feel to it, but without like it being, it's grounded cotton candy.
Thank you. Grounded
whimsical.
It reminds me somehow of Clouds.
Yes. Yes.
So I knit the smallest size on a US 5 Nutiden held single with Mohair. And it just is one of those, like, I need some, like, I feel like the vibe of this is like the instant gratification cardigan. I just want something soft and light and cozy.
Fun to knit. Yeah, changing.
Yeah, I don't know why this took me so long to get off my needles.
Yeah.
I think I just, like, it's like I would knit a section and then, you know, I've talked about this, like the effort needed to go and learn the next new section, even though the next new section is like, you know, a bunch of garter bumps. And like, then like
it's literally just follow the
moss
pattern
stitch.
You're not doing
there
it
was
on YouTube.
Something about it that I was just like, oh, I finished that section. I don't know what comes next. I do think that this sweater has was one of the sweaters that made me shift from knitting raglans to drop shoulders. Like there's something about this cable
drop shoulder now.
The way that the cable is on the sleeve and also on the
it's
body,
emphasized, right? Like it's, and it comes
in
right
a
at the
different
same space.
way. Like it sort of lays different. That I was like, oh, I really like that drop shoulder. Yeah. Tons of people have knit this. I think our friend Lily from Curatorial Knits has knit her version is like the double Sunday, knit in double Sunday and like alpaca or something like that. And hers is really gorgeous in terms of its stitch definition, like more classic looking, but love it.
She actually I was just watching her recent podcast and she combined something from this one too, I think. What's the, is it this one? What's it called? The chart. Like,
I can't remember.
Frankie. Yeah, the Frankie. I thought somebody was talking about the Frankie Genser.
I thought she did the Lou.
Maybe it was.
That's
the one.
The Lou Genser.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, that's probably it. I love this green. Is that like Kelly green?
Yeah.
I love that color.
I don't know how easy, like I remember I saw this Guernsey Genser sweater, like, when did this come out?
This is a while ago.
Like it's a while ago. I don't know if it says, but it's an old issue and I remember seeing it and looking at all the project pages on Ravelry and being like, oh my gosh, you know how when sometimes you buy a book, you're like, okay, like how many of the patterns in this book do I actually want to knit? This is one where I was like, I could knit basically so many of them. It was hard to find though. I ended up getting this from Beehive Wool Shop, but I couldn't find it like in Canada, so I don't know how easy it is to get.
I think I found it somewhere. I literally the other day almost bought this.
But I think that right?
That's like, gorgeous. Except I don't think I'd want balloon sleeves with it. But anyway,
like look at this,
pretty.
Like I think actually it's called. I actually think it literally has soft in the name.
I think it is because somebody else was
Women's
just talking
Soft
about
or
this.
something like that.
Maybe it was Lily.
This is a really great. I think this is a really great compilation. If you can get your hands on this one, this is worth it. What I will say, construction wise, in this volume, they're all different kinds of constructions on the sweaters.
Oh, cool.
Like an unconventional raglan shaping in some of these sweaters, or not unconventional, but just like a little bit different from your standard.
Nice.
So it's got drops, it's got round yoke, it's got raglan. So
like there are classics in this. Like it's one of those. You know what it's like? Is it issue 12 or something? There's a Lina or 11 or something where it was like, whoa, like Snowy Forest was in there, and then so was like the Selly, and so was like it was like. The whole issue had a bunch of classics.
Yeah, it's a great one if you can get your hands on it.
I have a question. So I've been also lately buying a lot of books. There's been sales and things, and I just love a book. So I love to just sit and eat my like dinner and just flip through books, even though I've like,
whether you knit the patterns out of it or not. Yeah.
How do we all feel? Okay, so if you buy a book, like a novel, if I buy a novel, I have no problem loaning that book to a friend, right? Because it's like, but okay, so that's not a problem to me. The idea of loaning a pattern feels really wrong to me.
Yes.
Because I feel like it's robbing, like that designer has worked so hard on that pattern, and I feel like they deserve to be like compensated for their, all that work. At the same time, I'm like, well, books should be the same. Like all that work.
Right.
Like.
I never thought about it that way. Because I feel the same way about that. Is like I lend books all the time.
Right.
But don't
shouldn't they be also
patterns.
like compensated?
Yes.
And then.
Good points,
yes,
Carmen.
Thank you. I don't have an answer to this. Do you guys have thoughts? Because we've had a few times lately where it's like, I don't know, like, especially if I have like a book that's not available. Like, so somebody wants just one. Okay, so let's say a friend wants one pattern in a Lina, like magazine, right? I was actually thinking about this. I'm like, well, I mean, first of all, it's up to them. So really I could do it, and it's up to them if they want to like purchase something from that designer. They could, if they wanted to purchase something else. Or they could wait for the year, and then once it comes out again, then purchase the pattern. Like, it's all up to them.
Yes.
I don't know why I feel this, like, need to be involved. Like, I feel like I don't want to hurt the designer's income.
Yes. Well, it's kind of like, what's the word? It's just like what you are personally comfortable with.
Yeah, it's true.
Right?
Yeah, I would never judge anyone for doing it.
Yeah.
I just, like, wonder if other people have the same kind of thoughts. And going along I find myself, and of course this is also going to be dependent on where you choose to put funds and all of this stuff. So of course this isn't like just a universal thing. I generally don't spend a lot of money outside, like my like fun money goes towards knitting.
Yeah.
So to me, I actually find that sometimes maybe I'm just making myself feel better for having a ridiculous amount of patterns on Ravelry, and also a crazy amount of books that are really impossible for me to knit all these patterns. But I think to myself, I don't even care if I first of all, ever knit it, because I love the joy of just flipping through a book, or even like buying a pattern and looking at it is so joyful to me that I'm like, that's worth it. And I kind of see it as being like, hey, I really want these people to keep designing. So if I like give them a little bit of something, even if I never did it, it's almost like I'm like saying, please keep doing this because you keep bringing me joy, and I want to give you something back. Not that everybody can, and people put their money in other places, whatever. But I don't know. I just like think about that.
Well, it's interesting as I like reflect on what you're saying. I feel like there's something about, and I think this probably reflects like our knitting journey. Like I feel like with Ravelry and social media and attending yarn festivals and test knitting, I feel like I have a more lived personal experience of the work involved in being a knitwear pattern designer, in which I look at the price, I'm like, no. Like this is just so like, it's no. Like, like no. Like the amount the amount of time and effort and energy that goes into developing a pattern and how much you pay for it on, you know, like Payhip or Ravelry on Etsy or whatever. I'm just like, oh my God, no. But I also feel like I have a more like lived, visceral relationship with designers, even the designers that I haven't met, just because I have met some designers, like every single designer in my mind,
you can picture
what that's
what
like.
They've done at least.
And it feels like I just feel like so many knitwear designers are, you know, this is their side gig, or they're trying to make this their main gig, and they're like one person.
Yeah.
Whereas when I think about like written books and like being a published author, and I don't know a ton about that process, just like a little bit, it just feels like it's a bigger machine.
It has to be.
It's like the scale, like I feel a little bit more further removed from authors, and there are some book authors, of course not all authors, does not apply to all authors, but I think about like if I walk into and get like something off the New York Times bestseller list, for example.
Yes.
Like I just feel like there are so many layers between me and the author. Totally. And I also feel like the author, in order to arrive at a place of like getting published and having distribution, and you know, book authors are definitely also undervalued and underpaid.
Yeah.
But it just feels like there's more layers between me and them.
Yes.
Which I think is part of the reason why I don't, if I like lend a book, I don't feel like I have actually like robbed somebody of something, even though I have.
Yeah.
Like I'm just like, how much have I robbed them? I don't know.
True.
Right? Like I feel like I've robbed like 5 cents as opposed to like,
because every book that
$10 US.
Yes, they're not
Like,
exactly.
like,
because most, like you're saying, most of the, I mean, Ravelry is going to take a cut and all this, right? But most of, I think, what you've bought in a pattern probably, I'm assuming, goes to this person.
Yeah.
Whereas like a book, like what are they? I have no idea what the split would be, but maybe like 10 cents a book or something.
People.
I don't know.
Yeah.
At the same time, I'm like, the more books bought, the more that author is also like celebrated.
Yes.
And so
it gives them the opportunity to get another publishing deal, for example.
Well, exactly.
Right?
There's that also, but also just their own, like, they put this out there, and this is a way to kind of say, hey, like, way to go.
Yes. Please keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Even if I haven't knit your sweater, if I haven't knit this pattern, like, you're on the right track.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think books
to
too. According to me. Yeah. But yeah, anyway, just food for thought. It's been kind of percolating. I had like I was watching a podcast and something had come up about loaning books, that they like loan books all the time. And that's when it kind of occurred to me. And I was like, huh. Because I always have thought also like libraries are so great. And they're like, they take away from the like person writing the book, but that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's room for all of it. Totally. I appreciate like the opportunity to reflect on like how you want to participate in the exchange, recognizing that there are many ways to participate in the exchange.
Totally.
Right?
Like even just sharing somebody's like, let's say you share a here's a good example. Let's say you give that pattern to a friend, and then that person makes something and shares all of that with people. That's going to help that designer as well. So it's not, I am not saying it's a problem. I would just love to hear people's opinions.
If there are
on this.
designers watching this.
Yeah, I was going to say, and designers, how would you feel?
Love to hear your thoughts around that. I also have often wondered what it's like to have a pattern published in a publication, and then this like law, like, which I think, as you noted, like it's such a long process of like pitching, like submitting your proposal, having your proposal accepted, then like the secret Testknits, making the whole thing, like then it gets published and like photographed, and I'm sure it gets molded in a particular way in order to fit the publication. The aesthetic choices, the design choices then become a part of it's more, my guesses, or I think like the publisher has a big is very involved in that creative process. And then this, like, for me, it's like it comes out in a publication, and my inclination, actually, funny to you, is like my inclination is that I want to wait until it becomes that person's individual pattern in order to buy it. I don't know why. Like,
well, you're supporting that exact
feels
person.
Correct to me.
Yeah.
But also like publishing is, you know, we've lost a lot of publishing houses because of sort of direct to consumer options and
like,
the amount of
Lina
energy
to
that
keep
it takes
going. Like, so to me, I think that Lina, like, I know there's lots of controversy and all of, I don't know where people stand on it right now, but I actually, and nobody's perfect at the end of the day, but I feel like it brings so much joy. Lina, the way that it's like, laid out, the photography is beautiful, the encouragement of like new designers, not always the same, like it gives people a place. I'm pretty sure there would be designers that have become names because of Lina, not, and if they had just released their own pattern, it wouldn't have happened. So I just basically love, like, I want to support, so I buy the subscription I just get it brought to me, like the whatever, I just pay for the yearly. Yeah. Not knowing what it's going to be. And that's just fun. Because then I like flip through, and there have been issues where I'm like, I don't even know if there's one thing that necessarily will fit me, but I'm still happy.
But there's articles and editorial and it's aesthetic. Like I flip through Carmen's Lina every single time.
My mom too. She loves it.
Like, look at it. It's like a coffee table book.
This is it.
Right? As opposed to buying it for consuming a product in order to make another product. Yeah.
There's just lots. So it's not right or wrong. It's just there's lots of possibilities.
I have actually been, like, there was something about when I bought Erin, when I bought this book, I was like, I definitely treasure this in a way that I probably don't treasure my, like, one-off pattern that I buy on Ravelry. Like, maybe if I took the time to print it and put it in those little sleeves and like the binder, like other more
even
conscientious
then, I don't
people.
think so.
There's something about the, like, I think there's something for me that's incredibly, that I know and can feel is such a deep process of investing oneself and one's creativity when you're creating a collection.
Yes, that's been thought through. And then it's tactilely, it's been bound together. There's a tactile feel of these things coming. It's like, music, right? Where now we're going back to vinyl. And the idea of like people listening to an album. Yes. Because for quite a while, it became just one-off songs. Yeah. So what was the point? And it also, like, I mean, I love digital music. I mean, thank God for it. You can like listen to music everywhere and yay. But at the same time, there are things that get lost with that too.
Yeah, for sure.
You know? And the music exists somewhere. Whereas you don't know, you can go back to like, I mean, I don't think we're ever going back to CDs, but like, even I wish tapes were coming, like maybe they will, maybe tapes will come back. I'd love to mix tape.
It's that editorial process that I think we don't do, but we can I appreciate how much that takes. And like, I don't know if you, like when a new album comes out by an artist that I follow, I have to like listen to it front to back, like in order without distractions. If it's an artist that I really love, because I'm like, I must pay, like I want to pay respect to the artistry that is that, you know.
But there was a period of time where I don't think artists were many there's always gonna be some that kept on doing this, right? But there was that period after like Napster, and then it became Apple Music and Spotify and everything, where I don't even know that artists were trying to make concept albums anymore. And now I feel like that is back. Yeah. And there's this like Arcade Fire's most recent album is so, I mean, they always have a concept to them anyway, but it just felt like a whole story. And even like they had like tracks where they're the same title but part 1, part 2. I don't know. Yeah. Just anyway, sorry. That's not about knitting, but
it is though.
It's about creation.
It is about creation. I actually, you know, like we're getting to year end, and Carmen and I are planning to do a year end roundup, like favorite things kind of episode. We had too many finished objects for this episode in order to do that. But there was something that happened where I thought, like, can a Make 9 be an editorial project? Right? And it's not, and again, it's not about the commitment. It's not about the commitment of the Make 9, of like, those are the 9 that you're going to make, because how can you I believe that the reason why a Make 9, for many, not everybody, people actually do their Make 9, but I would say like, let's make a big generalization. If you were to look at every single Make 9 that gets made, how many people, actually get to the end of the 12-year. Like, a make 9 is impossible to stick to because it's not taking into account the new inspiration that is just like the deluge of beautiful things, right?
Too.
Yeah,
we change every year.
But I do love the idea of like sitting down to make one as a curatorial editorial process
like what
project.
Story? What would this? Oh my God, let's do it.
Okay.
Okay, we'll try to. Oh my God. Okay, that episode's gonna be 7 hours long. Just so you know, like if we're doing this at the same time as I
don't know.
Whatever, doesn't matter. That would be fun to just like have a concept, and the hard part is like there's so many concepts, but you can't go wrong.
Yeah.
Join us.
It's like amazing podcasters who do like a mood board every season.
Exactly.
I'm like, ooh, like I've started to get into this idea.
What would the shawl be of this like concept?
Yeah, like what do you put in your 9? You know, like how do you like categorize your 9?
I could. It would be like
Carmen's like, I'm gonna do make 36. 9 socks, 9 pullovers.
Do you know what's reminding me of Project Runway? I don't even know if Project Runway is still on, but did you ever watch Project Runway?
Project Runway.
I loved it.
They have another one. It's called.
Yeah. Tim.
Yes.
Gunn. He did it.
Yes, and Heidi, and it's still
and Heidi too, right?
But it's not called Project Runway anymore.
Classic Project Runway, and then at the end, right? They have like the people make it to the end, and they've got their 9 pieces.
Yes.
And they have like they've got a capsule or whatever. Like you've got to have your concept and like. Okay, I'm very. Does it look like I'm excited about this? I'm like.
This is the kind of energy that was not allowed inside of that.
It was allowed. It just was like it was not appropriate.
We were like, let us consider.
Well, this is quite nice. Can I have a cup of tea?
Very mindful, very demure.
That's right.
Yeah, let's figure out some sort of thing.
I like it. Okay. Right at the start, this is another thing. This is how we roll, but this is especially me because I'm just like, what's happening right here? Way back at the beginning, probably our second or third kind of thing that we ever posted was a YouTube live. Nope, it was an Instagram live because we couldn't figure out how to do YouTube. I did it wrong. Whatever. And it was about colors.
Yes.
And we asked you, the people live, to be like, let's put some things together. And so people would be like, spring or something. And then you and I like went to our Nutiden stash and like put together colorways like that represented spring. So not required, but if you guys have any ideas of concepts, that would be cool.
Well, I'm so interested in terms of because I think the classical make 9 is just like what 9 things are you going to make, right? But the way that my hyper left brain works is that I'm like, you know, it's almost like the make 9 is a bingo board, right? And like each little square, like when I'm thinking about editorial, I'm like, okay, if I have 9, like what are the 9 things that I'm gonna place in, right? Like, is it gonna be like 1 sock, 1 hat, 1 shawl, 1 sweater,
according to whatever your like
your concept theme is, right? So I'd be really curious to sort of hear what those little, like what the categories would be inside of your make 9, you know, like how do you come up, what are the 9 categories, like what are the 9 things that go in there,
if there are 9.
If there are
there
9
might
things,
be
right?
like more. Yeah, there might be 4 categories,
right?
and then even all these different things of like the avant, like anyway. Oh my God, there's just so many thoughts. So if you have, okay, here's what we're saying. Summary. We're going to try. I think we shall see, but maybe you and I will have some kind of make 9 at the end of our next for our next podcast, where we'll talk about it. That's okay. Good. No containment. If you want to make your own, I would love to see this. I would love, you can stick it in the comments here, then everybody gets to see it, or like DM us or whatever you want to do. Super, super fun. And if you have any ideas for, if you don't even want to make it yourself, but you're like, you know what would be like a really great theme and I'd love to see, and you just want to put that out there. And then anybody who's like, I want to make one, but I have no idea what theme, you can look through that too and then make your own. Oh my God.
Like, you know, like I'm like, oh my gosh, you could do like make 9 ethereal.
This is what I mean.
Like make 9.
What is
like,
what did I call it? Grounded, grounded whimsical. What would that be?
Joanna Ang pattern. 1, 2, 3,
exactly.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
And even I've just discovered how to make like, you know, these things, these folders and stuff on Ravel, not folders, the bundles. And you can just put it in there. Oh, you could just link your bundle for Ravel. For those on Ravel, right? You could link the bundle. And then we could all just go and look and see what this bundle is. And you can name it for whatever the theme is. Okay, Carmen, relax.
I also feel feel like there's a whole bunch of people that are like, Carmen and Jackie, we've been doing this forever.
I know.
On Ravelry, you're like, there's this feature called a bundle, and people curate things together.
And we've all done make nights like this with concepts. Yeah. Well, we're just coming to it now. I also am aware, and when I watch this again, I'll be interested to like see how fast my words just sped up. Just in this little section, I feel like I'm like. It
was our second cup of tea.
Truth.
Just
three sips of that, like, yeah. Oh my God, I'm excited. This is so fun. This is fun.
I think one of the reasons I'm so excited about it is that we all go through seasons of our knitting, right?
Yeah.
And our I think of like knitting is our one of the forms of our creativity. It's a creative act.
Yeah.
And so as you move through, as you change, and as like, you know, the creative energy or the creative force that is moving through you wants to take different pathways, your knitting then changes.
Yeah.
And I think when I think about my process, it was kind of like, what does this Nutiden want to be, was like the thread.
Yeah, that's true.
And then there was what do I want to wear, that became a thread. And then there's a what designer,
like
yarn maker, like which there's somebody else's creative stream, and what other creative stream do I want to swim in, that was much less about, you know, what I want to wear on my body, or like wardrobe, like editorial capsule wardrobe thought process. And I feel like I just have a sense that like there's been a shift again. Like I've signed up for a bunch of Testknits, which is very unlike me.
I know.
And so I think the idea of having some sort of like editorial and creating almost banks to the river is whether anything happens, whether I like keep to those banks or not, there is something about, I think it's kind of like I'm starting a creative process.
Completely.
Right?
And this to me is what creativity is. For me, is the river, like, is actually allowing ideas in as they come, and I don't hold tightly to any of them. It's like, all right now, this is so exciting to me. And
but we're sowing seeds. I feel like that's the process. Like you're sowing seeds, some of them are going to bloom and some of them aren't.
Exactly.
Right?
And if it doesn't come, if like in 3 weeks or something we're here and I'm like, yeah. So remember the whole thing where I was just like really into that? Well, I guess not anymore. And that's like fine. When the ideas go and they go to someone else, cool. But this one feels really like, this is what I want to do right now. Even just capture who I am right now.
In this moment.
What is this concept? Maybe my concept is Carmen December 2024. Yeah. But maybe I want to go a little more than that, because that's just like what I would knit.
Yeah.
I want to like, sometimes also I think that we can be a certain, through knitting, through what we wear, how we do our hair, anything, like we can be a certain person. Like
it's
my daughter even
thing.
says, right?
Yeah.
She's like, you look like, whatever, one of them I think was a farmer or something. And I was like, okay, like that works for me. Or maybe you're gonna get on a horse or something. And it's like we have all of these different parts of us. We're not so like unidimensional.
Yeah, and I think what I'm excited about around this is that, like, for me, for whatever reason, until this moment in Make 9 has felt like it's a constraining thing.
Yeah.
Like I felt like it literally was boxing me in some kind of way.
Yeah.
Or demanding some kind of curation that was about like a consistent image. Like I think this is why a mood board doesn't work for me, because my tendency is like love all the things and like all kinds of disparate things. And you know, this also relates to astrology, right? Is that like you and I are not,
don't tell us what to do,
like tight like directional humans. And there was something about the Make 9 process that felt
constraining.
Like it wasn't expansive. It felt like it was trying to corral something in, which is beautiful. Like I love looking at somebody else's mood boards, but I feel like I would have a real problem like sticking to a theme. But there's something about this that I'm like,
this is it. And again, everything happens, I think all the good stuff happens in the middle, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't like to be constrained, but I also recognize that there's times where I deal, like having a little bit of structure is really good for me.
Yeah.
I don't always want it, but I know that it actually allows me to get further.
It's the gift of structure.
It is the gift of structure. It actually, well, it's the idea, like, you know, we're talking about this idea of the river, right? Like, because to me, creativity is best as, and I use the same analogy, that a river is great because it's like, it's got banks, but the banks can be overrun if needed. The river can move off if it needs to. A pipe is like the too constrained piece. Like a pipe can only go from here to there.
Yes.
But a flood is too wide. Like you can't grab it. There's nothing, you know? So it's this idea of like not containing creativity, but having some kind of structure, scaffolding.
Yeah.
Helps.
Support. I always think.
I've only done one make 9 right at the beginning of my knitting when I was even learning, not getting into knitting, but coming back to knitting 5 years ago or whatever. And I even then was like, oh, I can't commit to that. Like, God, no. But what I did and I really liked was that I was doing it by designer. So I was like, I want to knit something by this designer, this one. And I actually think I got 5 done.
Out of 9.
Maybe 6.
Yeah.
And that was great because it actually was like, I want to be intentional. The designers also were important to me because I liked what they were doing. So it gave me a reason to make sure I knit and supported them. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah.
Like I remember Jacqueline Cieslak was one of them at the time. And I was like, I really like, you know, what she's doing and what she's creating in this knitting world. And I want to knit something by her for that reason.
I guess the other thing that I'm like coming to right now is that I feel like, you know, the make 9 that I want to make is not 9 patterns. It's 9 concepts.
Oh, 9
Not concepts, but it's like, it's 9 like things, right?
Okay.
It's like for example.
Are they linked?
Yes.
Okay.
But I mean, like, rather than sort of saying, like, I want to knit this pattern, it's kind of like, I want to knit, I don't know, like, sideways construction cables. Like, you know what I'm saying? Except not all of them need to be, like, technical things, right? Like, you know.
Well, there's no constraints
there's
on
no
that.
constraints on it.
We just need something, we just need a thread.
Yes.
That, whatever that thread is, that links them.
Yes, to allow us to, and I think the way that I see this as like beautiful for the creative process is to see how I feel like I'll relate to different patterns and different designers through this process than left to my own devices of like when the like torrential enthusiasm of like, I need that. like
that beautiful picture on there almost.
Yes. There's something about it actually widening the banks of my river, right?
Exactly.
Or creating like new pathways and new tributaries. If I think about it, not so much as like what are the 9 patterns, is like what are the 9 creative things that I want to explore in the next year.
This is reminding me of one thing. Sorry, guys. This one's just gonna be longer. Okay, it's just gonna be longer. Sorry.
We've left the knitting to the very long musings. I always love. I'm the one who does the chapters, and I always love doing the timestamps. Are you about to bring your painting? No, okay.
No, it's not my painting. No, I can't find it, but I'm going to talk about it. But
the like doing the timestamps and recognizing we talked about that pattern for 3 minutes, and then I talked about a pattern for 59 minutes, and then here's one of our. I don't remember what the chapter title is. It's like it's not a intermission, but like it's an interlude, and sometimes the interlude is like 47 minutes, or we've like, it's like, it took us an hour and a half to talk about a pattern, but because inside of the pattern there's like 4 interludes.
Oh my God, I actually have never paid attention to your chapters, but now I'm going back and I'm looking at them all, so I can actually appreciate. What I wanted to say is that we have a game, and it's actually like, so the kids and I and my husband, every Friday night we always have dinner together and we play a game. And I bought this off, of course, IG, like some ad, because it just knows me really well.
Yeah.
And I was trying to find it because I can't remember the exact name of it, but I think it's called Random Notes, or it's Ransom Notes.
Ransom Notes. It's Ransom Notes. I
do you know
what
this
you're talking
one?
about. Yes.
So what you do is there's all these magnets and they're words, and you know a ransom note where you would like, they're like glued, all the little like letters are glued together. This is like a bunch of words and sometimes there's a few letters in there too. They're magnetized, and you just grab a pile and you have them out there, and then there is a theme.
It's a prompt.
And you have to create poem based on what you've got on your table and this prompt. And it is absolutely so fun. I mean, some of it's like, it's an adult game. So there are,
I was gonna say, this is
we've had some funny, it's been funny. My kids are like almost 10 and 13.
Yeah.
So like, they find it fun. Anyway,
also what a great way to have conversations about, you know, cocaine.
Well, it gets worse than that. And actually, John sits beside me, and sometimes the kids are doing theirs, and I show him, I'm like, if only I could use this word, and he laughs. Anyway, the reason I'm saying this is that it is a similar concept where you are given a bunch of things, and I could make a poem out of this thing. But what's so cool is having a prompt. Then you suddenly look at these words in a different way, and everything comes, and you don't, at first you're like, what am I even, and then it just comes through you, and you read these things, and my kids are coming up with some crazy, beautiful poems. I just think these things are like cool. So I feel like the Make 9 has that.
I would love to do this as a collective project. Let us think on how to do this. But like, you know, I
just want to see it.
I had this idea of like how wonderful it would be to have a Make 9 that like is inclusive of patterns, but is also inclusive. Like you could put like this sweater, and then you could put like,
fiber or something?
Yes, like explore handspun, for example, right? And
or
then
this farm.
Or yeah, right? Like really loose in terms of what goes in, but to make it at the beginning of the year, and then to go back at the end of the year to kind of see where you, like, what that ended up being. So like if, for example, one of my categories was like things that make me feel like a woodland pixie. Right?
Obviously,
right? But like to kind of at the end of the year like look at everything that's been made, and to like look at what I ended up making, whether I ended up making anything
woodland pixie
like woodland pixie like, or maybe I go and I look that I've like just that square being there led me to like 7 knits that are all woodland pixie knits, you know, like,
and you would notice more things, you know, when you we are really going off, but you know, when you like you buy a car, you're thinking about buying a car, and then you see that car everywhere because it contains things. I bet you, even if you didn't want to be a woodland pixie, the whole year, when you saw things that were woodland pixie like, even if you didn't want to be that now or want to do it, you'd be like, oh, woodland pixie,
right?
Because you have language suddenly for this concept, that you're trying to put pictures and
that's my excitement about it. It's kind of like, you know, I feel like the moment that I say yes, I'm gonna run that yoga teacher training is the moment that like a creative like it all starts to happen, and like I'm meeting the people at a certain time, or I'm like out in nature and the tree is telling me something that I'm like, that would be a perfect metaphor to teach this particular concept. It's kind of like I want to do that, but for knitting.
I love it.
Want to do it with us?
Yes.
I don't know what it involves, but like would love to, like, let us know your thoughts. I would love for that to be something that we do together.
We're gonna do something.
We're gonna do something.
We just don't know what it fully is.
Yeah.
It's gonna be great.
Classic.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out in the show notes.
Did we say, I did say the word. I was like, did I even say the title?
It's in the title. They clicked on it.
Anyway, welcome to Knitting a Good Yarn podcast. It's a little
3 hours and 6 minutes. I'm so excited to see how long this tangent was. Okay.
Okay. Can I talk about one thing, and then I can leave the other ones?
Really? Oh, yes.
I have to talk about this. Okay, I'm actually really proud of this.
Oh my god! I just want to get in it. And
don't
I can't.
Okay. I know we're gonna see, but he's resting right now, so I'm like, I'll put him in. Okay. So I have 2 little pups. They're both Chihuahua Terrier rescues, and we live in Canada. And Chihuahuas are not native. And in fact, they're not native to anywhere that has snow, as far as I know. So they can get, they're just tiny, like 11 pounds and 15, not as tiny as some, but they need to have sweaters. And the thing is, it's really hard to find things that fit dogs.
Sweater fit the whole thing.
I have bought
so many sweaters.
Now Pizza is so I have Frisco, who's my older one. He's like 15, I think. And then Pizza is young. He's 2, and you'll see him in a second when I put this on him. But he has he has a very large, like his chest is like, he's a Chihuahua Terrier, but like it's hard to see the Chihuahua in him. The Terrier, and he's got more of like a hound kind of feel to him. Short funny story. I brought him to the vet, and the vet, he's probably in his 50s, lovely guy. He was like, he's like checking him out just for the regular like checkup. And he's like, he's like, wow, he is really strong. He's like, he's really built. And I'm like, yep. He's like, I think I'm a little jealous of him. I'm like, okay. He's like, I wish I looked like that. Anyways, he's a very like strong dog. Couldn't find a thing. I was walking with them, had a recent coat, falls off. Our dogs wear harnesses, which means that the leash comes out through the back part here. Like a collar would work if it comes out and then you can just wear a coat, but this one comes out in the back. It couldn't fit through there. So then you're like threading the leash, like which one goes better out the top,
and then like
out the side, out the bum.
Weird. Yeah.
And then it just kept falling off and he had to walk in the cold. And I'm like, what am I going to do? How am I going to find this? And I'm like,
I'm a knitter.
I'm a knitter. So I'm a knitter who doesn't like to measure. And I was like, Carmen, measure. But I didn't. Not really. Anyway, I started off with a pattern. This is what I'm the most excited about. I created this.
So excited.
I started with a pattern, but it wasn't working. And then I literally just made what I wanted. And then I found another pattern, but it wasn't exactly what I wanted. So I made everything I needed in a dog sweater. So this is wool, like full out wool from, I was part of the Longway Homestead?
Yes.
They're a farm out in Manitoba, do beautiful things, bringing like wool production, like a lot of awareness to wool production in Canada. And they're just wonderful.
Incredible.
I would get like a skein of wool. I was probably for 2 years, I think I was part of their subscription. I had to eventually stop because I have too much that I'm not.
You did wool 1 year, fiber another year.
Yes. Thank you. So I'm like, well, I've got some wool. So I went and I had a Clun Forest, like pure Clun Forest 3-ply bulky, 100 grams of that, and then 100 grams of something else. I don't know, because I'd wound it up into a ball. No idea what it is, but it looks like maybe a DK. I held them together and I'm like, I'm just gonna make something crazy, crazy dense. Sweet. And then I just started and I'm like, I'm gonna make him a little turtleneck. And then I realized that the pattern I started working with, I found another one. This is different, but they had these increases here, which I really liked. So you can see it started to do this down. By the way, when I make another one, I noticed that there's a bit of bulkiness here. I'm gonna do some kind of thing to take almost the opposite of a short row. Like there's more bulkiness in here, so I almost need to like take away some of it. Like maybe do a short row here on the opposite side of it. So that, anyway, this is what's so fun because you're working with this. This took like a day.
Did you write this down?
I did write it down. So I'll put this in a Ravelry thing. I am never, okay, I'm just putting it out there. I'm never, ever, ever going to be a pattern designer ever. I'd have no interest. Zero. But
we're really interested in you being a pattern designer.
Well, it's going to be like the idea of a recipe works for me. Like an actual like.
With grading?
No.
I'm not tech editors for that.
Well, this is it. Poor pizza. I just kept putting it on.
I was going to ask how are you sizing?
I just kept putting it on him. So I knit this for a bit. I increased. Look at how cute this is.
So cute.
Increased here, and then I'm holding it. I kind of looked at where his little feet would go. All I did was bound off these sections. So I'm going around in the round, right? I just bound off 11 stitches here, come around, bound off 11 stitches, then come back around, and then I just cast on 11 stitches, backward loop, both things. And so suddenly now you have these. Oh. And then I'm like, oh, but now, because he's got quite a big chest, as you'll see, then I was like, oh, I'm just going to decrease. And like, so I started decreasing. So it kind of comes around his tummy, like a really, like just the way his shape is. It fits, it's like bespoke. And then I had to figure out how far, because you have to kind of see, like, you know, like how, where is his, like, where is he peeing and like, where is all this stuff? So I kind of looked at that, but I knew I wanted to get it up over his bum. So then I'm like, well, I know how to do that. You do that through short rows. So I just did a bunch of short rows. And I'm like, Carmen, yes. And then I wanted this to lie flat. So all I did was I was like, maybe I'll start a little garter. And then I bound off purlwise. And then I'm like, what's the other thing that bothers me? Well, the harness. What do you do without that? Well, I know how to put a hole in. So I did the same thing. So now I have the place for.
Oh my gosh. This is so amazing. This is also the cutest thing I've ever seen.
It's
like a little grandpa sweater, like for a dog.
Pizza, do you want to come here and model? Here, I'm gonna hold it, even though he's being so good.
Oh my god. Oh. Our battery's almost dead, so we are actually in fact gonna have to end soon.
Oh shoot.
No, we got 20%. It's okay. We're good. Let me just see.
Good boy. It's really fast. You're such a good boy. Oh, you're such a good boy. Yes, you are, my baby. You're so handsome. Oh, you're so handsome.
I know. He's like, what the heck, Mom? I was being so good.
Little man.
Hi, handsome. Do you want to look over here? Look over here, please. He's like, no. Oh my God. Hi. Is this not awesome?
Cutest puppy of all time?
Yes, you are.
Hi.
So this is what I mean by a little bulkiness up here. I might like kind of short row that.
Oh,
Hi. All right. How cute. How cute. And then just easy, you know, easy to get them off. You're such a sweetie baby.
Boy.
Here, let me get you little paws off.
You're such a good boy.
Oh, thank you, baby.
Oh, good boy.
I know. He's like, what?
It actually
The sweater
is a
again?
perfect bespoke sweater.
It is.
Does he love it?
No, but my dogs hate sweaters. They hate them.
But then they get all like trembly, right?
Yeah.
Like-
They tremble putting it on, but it's
But
too
like
cold. They
outside when they're
can't.
cold,
They
right?
can't
Like
do
it's just
it.
like
They have to have it. So anyway, I am so proud of myself. It's a little wet from this morning. The kids walked in the rain.
like come on.
Seriously.
It's perfect.
And it's a
actually
massively
perfect.
large gauge. I didn't even, well, we can check it there. Bulky plus like DK or something. I think I did it on, I think I wrote it down. Maybe 10s?
1, 2, 3, 4,
US 10s?
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12.
12. There you go. And it's super, super dense.
Oh my god, it's so cute.
I'm very, very happy with
I'm
this.
so
and you
happy.
can just like customize it. Like, I mean, look how many. I don't want to knit a million. He doesn't need a million. But you can make it.
But I
like,
feel like now that
color
you
work.
have a base, like it'll be so easy for you to
easy.
do it.
Yeah, and that's why I wrote down everything. I think I wrote it all down, even like the distances, because I knew this would fit him. And then maybe I'll make Frisco. Frisco's coat fits him, so he doesn't really need it. You're such a good boy.
Do you like your sweater? I like your sweater.
He's like, I don't really like the sweater, thanks. I like my body. I like my regular fur. It's enough. It's not enough.
my god, so funny.
Hilarious.
Amazing.
Boy. Okay, so we are running out of it, I think, battery power.
Yeah.
Okay.
This can wait.
Oh yeah, that's so cute.
This they've seen before, so we'll stop here. I think. Feels like a good place to stop.
Next time, maybe I'll just plug my phone in.
I think it's good for us to have thanks for this river. That is our podcast.
It's true.
I really want to know what those are, though.
I know, but you can't.
Okay.
Do you really want to know?
I really do want to know.
Okay, I can say it really fast. I'll talk. I'm only halfway
I
there.
feel like we've done like a cable palooza episode, and I feel like
These ones, right? Not the
yes.
Hold on, let me take off my watch. So,
Oh my god.
like, oops.
Oh.
Is that not? Look at these. There.
Look at those cables.
Mhm.
That's what I need to know. I need to know what these were. And look, oh my god, they look so
And when you wear it, after
cozy.
you put it on with, because it's even cuter with an actual sweater on. This is Sorry Nordlin. So talking about books, I bought this one softly.
Where did you get that in Canada?
Okay, I thank you for asking because I want to give them a shout out. So I bought this from, it's sold out almost everywhere, right? Fia Yarns or something. They're out in, I think, Nova Scotia.
Nova Scotia.
Now, great price, wonderful. Had them, hold on. They shipped it so fast. I bought from them before. They also
They also carry yarn
They carry
from one of
yarns.
my favorite purveyors.
yes, exactly. Like if you
Farm
want
yarns.
these like, and also like European brands, they're great. This was the one I got, but so it shows up, they actually shipped it UPS, which is like for a small business because of the Canada Post, they didn't want that getting in the way. Excuse me, so they ship it with a UPS. The guy comes, and first of all, I have to pay duty for something else, which was crazy. And then I look down and there's this box on the ground and it's literally like destroyed. And I'm like, what's that? And he goes, oh, sorry, that's for you too. He's like, it got a little bashed up in the truck. And I'm like, okay, well, so then he goes off and I get it. And I'm like, look at how bashed up. He like broke. Like that is not okay.
No.
So I actually, this is a small business, so I'm like, it's fine, I can still use the book, it's fine. But I wanted them to know what happened because I'm like, this is UPS and you should really like follow up because you're paying for this, right? You're not doing a good job. She immediately sends me another one. I hope that they got something back, but I want to like, and now you get one. Sorry, you're not getting them. But
I have wanted this, but I couldn't find it. I mean, I didn't do very serious. I didn't do very serious investigation, but when it first dropped, this is why. This is the sweater that I was going to do. That was going to be the actual like most amazing cream sweater possible. But look at how similar it is to yours, but it doesn't have the edge. I don't know. Now I'm going to have to really like think about whether I it's
want to make
also
yours.
Smaller gauge, isn't it?
20.
Oh no, it's literally in Sandnes Garn Double Sunday.
It's almost the same sweater. Anyway, this talk about a book we're going on, but talk about a book that has a zillion patterns. I was like, I will knit all of them. And so that's what this is. This is Polymnia.
I can't even talk. I'm so excited.
It's so adorable. I have been, this goes into another thing that I'm doing.
Polymnia. Where is it?
Where is it?
133.
Have you found it?
133.
Thank you.
Guess who's casting something on tonight?
Look. I mean, come on. Like as soon as I saw it, I was like, I want to knit this. I was like, what do I even just have around? So this is actually my hand spun from like Melly Knits.
I was like, what delightful. Or is this one of her?
This is an old one that we did.
It's not butt hair halo?
No. This is from like the beginning because I had about 200 grams maybe of it. It's like, I bet you it had like silk. Do you remember when it was that beautiful one that I loved?
You held it with halo, right?
And then I held it with halo. So it's
This is Playdate.
Playdate, yes. It's one of the Playdates.
It's just all baby animals.
Yes, maybe it was. That's what it was.
I knit my fleur in this.
There you go. So that plus I held it with Hibou, like Sonder Yarn Co's Mohair. And that is just, I am into these fingerless gloves. You know what? I'll just tell you that this came from Leslie Friend's Toast. And I'm like, these things are freaking perfect.
Oh my gosh.
They're just perfect. Like, I only have one, not because I didn't knit it. I have no idea where the other one is. I can't find it. I've got the house looking for them.
You and I are adults who need mitten clips.
We need, I know.
Like,
But the whole idea of this is that you can pull them up and back and all this. It's been so convenient. So then when I saw these, I'm like, oh, I could use another but one that's much not that this isn't classy, but it's a different kind of look.
I mean, I think, so what makes me really excited about this is that you and I became enamored with 3/4 length sleeve sweaters, which I still love.
Yes,
but now that it's like getting cold, not today, but when it gets cold and I'm wearing my like fuzzy, wonderful knit sweater underneath like a jacket.
Yes.
It's like I have mittens, but there's this tiny segment that I'm like, it's like lonely area that is not covered. But I don't know, in my brain, I was like, I could knit mittens and then just extend the rib, but I'm like, no, my forearm is not the same circumference here as here. Yes. And I probably could have figured out how to do increases and decreases, but I don't need to because Sarah has done it for us.
You can see, I've left these on for my next one I have to do.
Oh my goodness.
It is
and
really... I might want, so I really like it with the mohair, but I also, when I look at her pattern, I liked it with the crisp, not having any of the poof. Like it's
1,000,000%. This is what I'm gonna knit with my leftover double Sunday.
Oh yeah,
if I can get gauge.
There we go. Like, do you see how crisp these ones are? I just think those are so beautiful.
again, so I look at these and I'm like, girl's gonna get these dirty in 2 seconds. As I've learned from knitting white mitts, which is completely fine, but like, yeah, oh gosh. Like, again, I'm like, I need a navy blue sweater because I just keep seeing things like navy blue.
Navy. I love it.
Like,
suddenly I was like, does this look like it's a different, you know, like when it, you know, when on a, blah, 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 on a TV, I can't watch a movie, I have to watch in film mode, you know, where it's like, because it's too real, like on a TV. So some of the high def things, like there's like the picture quality is like, it looks like
more
real
than
people.
your eyes can do.
I hate that. And I just feel like, did we switch something or is this all?
no, I think this is just what happened with our light.
Okay. Because we look a little bit more like,
Dreamy.
no, opposite. Like,
Sallow.
too real. Too real. We're not this real. We're fake. Okay, now I think we're done. Like, I think I'm getting into that, like, what?
Loopy mode.
What are
Thank
you
you
talking
for
about?
the book.
Oh, you're so welcome for my seconds.
Gosh.
But they didn't even ask me for it. Like, this is a small business. And I just, like, I
Girl
just
is
want to
going on
say,
Fia to buy some yarn.
Fia, honestly, they've got great yarn. I'm going to buy my books there. I just love it. They're really, really lovely. And they shipped.
They, I went into their store when
when
I was
you
in
were
Nova Scotia
there.
last year, and they were my introduction to Opulent Alpaca, which is a Canadian like family run, just like husband and wife. They have a mini mill. Because they stocked Opulent Alpaca and I touched it and I was like, this is amazing. I looked up from the ball band and I was like, oh my gosh, I can even go and like visit their mill.
Oh, that's right.
And yeah, so they're a wonderful purveyor. I just want to
Every pattern in this book.
every pattern in this book.
Do you know I have still to this date only knit one pair of socks by Sari Nordland. That's it. I have never knit a sweater. I was watching her podcast. By the way, we were just
What?
talking about also like how, what's it called? Cables are not what you necessarily reach for. So she's re-knitting a bunch because there's actually a, she's doing a thing with Young Folk Knits.
That's right.
Um,
Yeah.
So she's
Casey
re-knitting.
is running a cal for this book.
This is the sweater she wears, or she's knitting again, and then she wears something very similar to that, I think, over and over. Just when you were saying I like a stockinette to just wear around.
Yeah.
Sorry, agrees.
Okay. This is the sweater that made me want to buy the book. Oh no. Oh no.
You too. That who was it that said that recently? Oh yeah, there you go.
This. So talk about classic cabled cream sweater. This is the
And do you know?
Espresso cardigan.
Was it?
Asapa was
Hella.
oh my gosh. Wait. Yes, it is Hella. Asapa was a river goddess whose name means never silent.
There you go. See, this actually comes in a short. I want to make.
I want to make the short one also. That's in black and white. That's in a dark color. This one.
Like,
Oh.
I mean, this woman is like
Incredible.
incredible. I can't believe how many patterns she puts out. And
Yeah,
she
she
just,
is
like,
very prolific.
and you can tell, like, I've never watched her podcast. I watched her yesterday, I think. And yeah, she's talking. You can see she can't knit fast enough for her ideas.
For her brain.
Yeah, she just needs to, like, there's more.
Okay. I actually want to mention one tiny thing. This will be quick because we talked about this. I showed this last episode, but I have gotten so many questions and I want to make sure that I'm doing
My
it.
favorite hat ever.
Yes. So
I wear this all the
last episode, I showed this is the Cold Foam hat by Samantha Garn. I gifted Carmen my first version of this, which is knit in Bichet Bouche Legros silk mohair held with one strand of like regular mohair. I just wanted to shout out the pattern to say that we have a release date. It's coming out December 14th. Get your needles ready.
Big day. Because isn't that
Joanna's the 18th.
18th? And then I think Tori might be the 14th.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
like get your needles ready for this hat, which I think is the perfect hat pattern. If you want to hear more about it, then you can go to our last episode. Yeah, the last episode. I'll link it below. where you can see Carmen's version and the folded brim version.
I wear it constantly.
But here's what I want to, related to hats, for those of you who are like hat gift knitting. I want to shout out this yarn combination because I gifted, it looks so good on Carmen. I gifted it to her like so happily. And then we were talking about wanting to knit other versions because I was like, I feel like it's the perfect hat and I love it in its brimless version. And so we were talking about yarn combinations and Carmen was like, the reason that it's the perfect hat is because this yarn combination creates the perfect, like it's super light, and also creates the perfect, like not slouchy slouch, kind of situation. And I did actually swatch with a couple other versions and this
is it.
There and I don't think, you know, I don't think of this yarn as a hat yarn. I think of it as a sweater yarn. Yes. And even in the ball, I'm like, I
wool in it. I thought it had a little bit of wool, like because you know sometimes mohair, like the larger mohairs, have a wool, but no,
it's all mohair silk. This is another mohair that has no prickle. So I wanted to show it in as this version to say like if you're looking for it only takes one skein.
It's so good.
So for the adult size medium, no, I don't know. I'll leave it in the show notes. But you know, Carmen and I are big-headed humans. So for these big brains, big circumference, like the extra height also humans, like I have plenty left over of the one skein. But if you are looking for like a luxe gift knit for someone who's like not a knitty person, who's not worked with fiber before, but you want to give them something that you're like, I made this by hand and it is like super lush and luxe.
Yes.
One skein. So helpful.
I love it. So I am realizing I have to leave right now. How is it 2:45?
I don't know.
I have to go get my daughter.
Okay, let's go get your daughter.
I'm like,
because we went 3.5 hours. Okay, we love you.
We love you.
Thank you for hanging out with us.
Sticking around, all of you who've stuck around. And those who didn't too.
We hopefully will see you before the new year. If we don't see you before the new year, thank you for another year of just enriching our lives with your presence, adding to our creativity, making us feel so met and so seen and so heard and so celebrated. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we hope that this season is one that has lots of comfort and care and connection for you. And hopefully we will see you again before the new year rolls around.
I think so.
Bye.